Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. Number one, happy Halloween. Number two, if my wife happens to be watching this video, thank you so much for being in my life, honey. It's been 8 years since we had our first date and became official, and you're wonderful. I love you so much. But happy Halloween, everybody. I can't believe that it's Halloween today. I'm just so excited. I took the day off from work to spend time with my wife since we had the move and stuff. We might do a few things around the house. We're still moving things, putting things up. And it's busy, but, you know, it's nice. It was nice to take a day off from work. And anyway, so here we are for a video I never thought I would make in my entire life. This channel has now hit 4,000 subs as of about 10 days ago when I posted, you know, to let you guys know that I was doing a Q&A announcement and stuff. I hope it was enough time for you guys to get some questions together. It looks like we have about 67 comments on that video for the Q&A, where I'll be taking questions from to answer in this video. This is probably going to be a long one. But number two, 4,000 subs. Dude, I never thought my rambly self would ever get to that kind of number. The fact that you all have been so wonderful and such a blessing and so supportive of me, one of the most boring people on the planet, is incredible. I feel bad for you guys, but, but thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate that. And I love the Goosebumps community. We've had so many cool things to talk about for 30 years, dude. 30 years since 1992. It's incredible. It's a really incredible time. And I love these books. I love this franchise. I have so much to say and think about it, as you guys have seen for almost 5 years as of February, which will be the 5th year anniversary. And it's a crazy thing to even wrap my head around, that I got to be a part of this whole thing and be able to put, you know, videos out and talk to people and meet so many cool people. I've made so many good friends out there, like Goosebumps Completionist and BD Horror, Spongy, just so many cool people, man, I got to meet over the years. So many of you that have been in the comments section since I started the channel. Dude, thank you guys. God bless you so much. I'm really thankful for all of you. But it's been amazing what the Goosebumps TV show from 2023 for Disney Plus and Hulu have done for this channel. I think right now we're at 4,100 subs. Within 10 days we got another 100 subs because of people getting interested, I guess, in this new show and then coming over to my channel to find out anything I thought about it, whether it be good or bad. People coming to see reviews for books, old news videos, whatever. And that is so freaking cool, man. I'm just excited to see people talking about Goosebumps. But the fact that we had the influx of people to the channel that we had, despite my thoughts on hating the Disney shows so much, has been incredible. And again, I just want to thank you guys for being here. You guys rule. But as I said, this is a Q&A. This could take me hours. So I decided to get up very early with my new Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger, that I don't even like this picture of Freddy, but I needed a Freddy shirt for this video, for Halloween too. So I'm going to try my best to bomb through question after question without rambling too much. And I looked through the questions, and there aren't really any good ranking questions, which I was worried about. I thought a lot of new people coming in, people aren't going to watch the Q&A video. They'll just ask you to rank a bunch of stuff like they usually do. You guys didn't do that, so I'm really thankful for that. Thank you for all the new, different, unique questions I've never been asked before. I think one of the questions was even about whether I like lettuce or not, which was hilarious when I read it. Anyway, so I guess I'll start off, and yeah, I've got some water here. I've got a Diet Pepsi here, yeah. My desk right now is an absolute mess. I've got games right here. I've got some VHS tapes of like the old Ronald McDonald cartoons. So I've got a lot of stuff laying around. I'm trying to like keep my attention on the camera and not on this stuff that's laying everywhere. It's not massive piles, just enough to throw you off. But anyway, I cannot believe it's almost November, by the way, because that means next month is Thanksgiving month, and then we're not even 2 months away from Christmas now. That is absolutely insane. It gives me anxiety, because now I gotta go shopping, and it's gonna be a rough year, you know, in this household, because I got a house, and it's gonna be not cheap, you know what I mean? Anyway, so let's start with the first question, person, whatever, whoever commented most recently. I'm gonna hit the newest refresh on the channel, and it looks like about 3 hours ago, Trevin Davis, 5762, asked a question or two. If the new TV show could adapt new episodes, I'm assuming you mean new books, right? Which one would you want to see the most? Congrats on 4,000 subs, man. Well deserved, and I also just finished reading Why I'm Afraid of Bees. That's a good one. Thought it was okay, and I enjoyed it. That's good. Thank you. If we had to adapt new books, I would love to see Ghost of Slappy. I would especially love to see Diary of a Dummy. I would love to see Slappy Beware. Slappy Beware would be such a good 4-hour movie. If you're going to make a TV series that involves Slappy at all, you could have done that. Slappy Beware would have been really cool. Those are the big ones that come to my brain because most of what we've gotten recently that were worthwhile were Slappy books from the Slappy World series. But I'm not going to lie, House of Shivers #1, scariest book ever, really good. That could be a really cool one to see too if it ever got adapted. Thank you, Trevin. Appreciate you, man. Grim Reader 6865 asked, which book in the original 62 is your scariest Goosebumps book? Oh, man. Probably Haunted Mask 2. I've kind of debated over the years between that and Ghost Camp. And Ghost Beach even kind of creeps me out. A lot of people don't feel that way. I really like those, but man, Ghost Camp, or Haunted Mask 2 is really, like, to me, the end-all be-all. There's just something about the end of that book and the build-up throughout that book that just puts me in an uneasy feeling every time I read it. I love it. It's amazing. Number 2, what are your least favorite and favorite Tim Jacobus covers? Probably my favorite of all time is probably the original Night of the Living Dummy with Slappy, the red cover and the yellow writing and all of that. Well, I guess it's a yellow banner and red writing, but anyway, love that cover. One of my favorites of all time. My least favorite... What is my least favorite? Probably Chicken Chicken. I don't know, man. I don't remember what I did for the OG 62 covers, but off the top of my head, Monster Blood was kind of lame, the first one, but Chicken Chicken was a very bizarre one. I don't think I had any other picks underneath that. I know there's some that people make fun of, like the Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. That looks like a driver's license photo from the original art, which is hilarious. When BD Horror and Spongy told me that, I haven't unseen it since then. I can't unsee it. Every time I look at it, I just imagine the mummy shambling through the DMV. Every time. But, anyway, question number 3. If you had the time, the money, and the resources to make a movie, which Goosebumps book would you make a movie out of? Again, dude, I think Slappy Beware would be a really cool kind of creep show throwback because of it's kind of like a group of short stories, you know? On the other hand, though, I would love to see Ghost Camp get made because we don't get summertime camp movies anymore. We used to get that all the time in the 80s, and to be fair, maybe it was overdone, but I think this is the time to bring something like that back. I think Ghost Beach would be an excellent movie. I think maybe if you really filled it out, maybe You Can't Scare Me would be an amazing movie. Because I know a lot of people don't like that book, but maybe that would be the one to win people over. Because the atmosphere, the anxiety of that story that I love so much, I think could transfer... Excuse me, my voice is still acting up where I just woke up a little bit ago. I only got up like a half an hour ago. I tried to jump right into this for you guys. But You Can't Scare Me, despite people's typical feelings about that book, I think that would be a really cool movie if it had like an Empty Man feeling to it, or like a Stranded in the Woods kind of story. Maybe a group of teens go out in the woods and get lost out there. I think we could do something really cool with that, but who knows? Anyway, Grim Reader, thank you for watching, dude. My boy Cooper, the Goosebumps guy, you guys should subscribe to him. I know he does videos too. Really cool guy. I think I'm pretty sure we did a collab on the Friday the 13th stuff with Grayson. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, check him out, dude. Cooper, the Goosebumps guy. I hope I'm not too late. No, you're not. But here are some questions. What Goosebumps book have you read, or have you... I'm messing up my whole day. I'm sorry, man. My eyes are still blurry. What Goosebumps book have you read the most times? Probably Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask. I've read that so many times, dude. Like, I've read it every single year except for this year because I just did not have the time with the move. And I'm kind of hitting a point that seasonal rereads of books is getting a little bit much. Like, I love Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Usually I read that every single fall. I didn't touch it this year. I might do it during November. I don't know. Because that one is, to me, that's probably a better book than Goosebumps 1 of the Haunted Mask. I love both deeply, but I think that one's better. I'm a huge Alvin Schwartz fan. I just reread In a Dark, Dark Room and other scary stories from him. But I would love to see... I would say that That book, you know, I reread a lot. A lot. Even sometimes I just pick it up and reread random books in that series because they're so short. But Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask, I've probably read that more than any Goosebumps book in my collection. Same thing with Ghost Camp. I read Ghost Camp quite a bit, and Haunted Mask 2 quite a bit too. But anyway, what is your least favorite Goosebumps or R.L. Stine book? Man, all right, so I'm gonna answer this in two parts. Number one, I read an R.L. Stine book this past summer called Beach Party, and Beach Party was such a disappointment. I read it at the beach, and I sent the picture out to you guys. I hadn't done any videos in a long time at that point, because I had basically kind of retired from the Goosebumps community. And not even retired, just I was burnt out, you know, earlier in the year. And so I just kind of took my time, backed away a little bit, and I read Beach Party when I was at the beach, and that one was so rough, man. I reviewed it on another channel that I have, and it was, it's not a good channel, number one, but number two, I just was not down for the way that book went in its finale. It was so overly complicated and dumb. I don't know if any of my friends like it. I didn't ask them whether they did, but I was not a fan, if I'm being honest with you. But the Goosebumps side of this, I would think, personally, that a lot of the recent Slappy World books were pretty rough, man. Pretty disappointing more than rough, or even bad. I would say just disappointing for the most part. And usually, even if I read a bad Goosebumps book, that's usually the case from my personal opinion, is that it's more about the disappointment than it being an actual bad book. Now, there are some Series 2000 books, there are some GYG books, there are some Horrorland books that are just rough. I mean, probably bad. And I don't remember the titles off the top of my head. Revenge R Us was pretty rough. You know, that was a rough one from Series 2000. GYG had some weird ones in the later entries that I just was not a fan of. It's like as soon as they changed the cover style to that kind of PC art looking crap, it got weird sometimes. Some of the covers are bad and the books are amazing for GYG. Most of GYG I think are fantastic and really entertaining. But once the covers changed and the banners changed, the spirit of them changed too a little bit. But Slappy World had some bad books in there. So I don't know, man. I don't know what I would pick out of that. Maybe Monster Blood. Monster Blood is one of the weakest ones I've ever read. There are more on my list where I've ranked every single book from worst to best of every series for a video I plan on making in the very distant future at some point. But I gotta tell you, I'm not sure what would be at the bottom of that list right now. Maybe I'll bring it up real quick. Let me bring this up just out of curiosity. What is my very worst book on the list? As of right now, 184 on the list, and I need to update it because I haven't had a scariest book ever to it. Number 184 at the very bottom of the list is Night of a Thousand Claws. Night of a Thousand Claws was insultingly bad. And right above that is The Lizard of Oz, which was also rough. Anyway, moving along. Sorry for all the rambling answers. I can already see how today is going to be. What is your favorite episode of the original TV show? Come on, man. Dummy 3. Dummy 3 was the best, and I will always stand by that. Timothy Bond, to me, is the best director of the whole series. Love pretty much all of them. Love most of the episodes. Or even like most of the episodes. But Dummy 3, that's a whole new level, dude. That's a whole new level for that series, for this franchise, everything. This shirt is being weird, man. It keeps going up, and I keep getting, like, whatever you want to call these, wings or something, I don't know. All right. Also, congratulations on 4,000 subs. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Cooper. Hope you're doing well, man. All right. Frederick Greer. Dude, it's been a while since I've talked to you. What is the one Goosebumps book you wish you'd never had in your collection? Oh, God. Oh, God. As a physical media collector, that's a hard question, man. Dude, when I was buying hardcovers, which are right behind me on the shelf down here behind the chair, you can't see them really. You can kind of see, well, no, you can't. Anyway, I have a lot of hardcovers of the original Goosebumps books, and I bought some of the newer ones, like Slappy World, a couple of Horrorland books I love, like Creep from the Deep, but I gotta tell you, I accidentally bought multiples of different books because I would buy different book lots of these things when they were super cheap. The hardcovers, for whatever reason, have skyrocketed in price all of a sudden, so I'm kind of glad I got them when I did. But, like, I have, like, 3 copies of Ghost Camp in hardcover, maybe 2, but it might be 3. I'm pretty sure it's 3, but they're all different variations. So I kind of wish, for the sake of space and physical media, that maybe I shouldn't have bought the hardcovers, if I'm being honest with you. I wanted there for a while to buy one copy of every single different variation of every book that I actually loved, like truly loved, like wanted the Haunted Mask. I have every version I can possibly get of it, even down to ones that were pre-release, that were given out to like critics and stuff. I have a lot of copies of different ones that I love. Not a Living Dummy, I think I have about 4 copies of. One in hardcover, and 3 different variations of the paperback. But that might be my biggest issue, is the doubling up stuff, and I need to take care of that at some point. I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with the hardcovers. I might hold on to those because it's part of my Goosebumps collection, but honestly, it could be the variations, man. I have like 2 copies of Dummy 2 on hardcover that are like the same hardcover. I don't need that. I have 2 copies of Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns up here. I don't need that either. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that. Do I want to put it on eBay? Do I want to just go ahead and hold on to it because those aren't that big, but I have a lot of other junk laying around here? I don't know. That's probably a very complicated answer to what you were asking, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Ginny Gatcomb 4577. How do you have a gat for a comb? It's like a, I feel a little nervous combing my hair with a gun. But anyway, that was a stupid, that was probably the most dad joke I've ever gotten on this channel. I am so sorry, guys. What has happened to me over the 5 years since you've talked to me? Anyway, congratulations. Do you think we can start a petition for a better Goosebumps movie? A better Goosebumps movie series for what the OG fans really want? She put a smiley face. Can't wait for this video. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not about the petition. It's not about the fan support or anti-support. It's not about any of that. It's just the fact that anybody who has their hands on this now in modern day society is going to ruin this. I had somebody ask me yesterday if I thought that Netflix could make a better Goosebumps series. My answer to that is absolutely hell no. Absolutely not. No way, no chance they would make the same mistakes Disney made. Maybe not as boring, but same mistakes, probably. So my answer would be no, and I don't think a petition does much anymore either. Because look at how many people signed the petition, and even still are, I believe, to try to get Amber Heard removed from Aquaman 2, and rightfully so after what they did to Johnny Depp. And that didn't work out, from what I can tell. It seems like it's not going to happen. She's barely in Aquaman 2, according to most people, but I don't think that petition went anywhere, man. It's a shame. All right, and Jenna asked another question in the comment before that. Have you met R.L. Stine? Any advice on how to meet him? He doesn't have anything coming up as of right now. No, I haven't met him. I would love to do that. I would love to get just one book signed, and I don't know what book I would pick. Ghost Camp, Wanted the Haunted Mask, Ghost Speech, which would be the unfair one that people would probably not like. I've thought about bringing something that would be like the worst book ever. Like, I want to get R.L. Stine's face and reaction on camera if I handed him a copy of Chicken Chicken and asked him to sign my favorite book. Just feel like the poor man is so sweet and kind that he would not be able to be mean about it. But I would love to push him to it and see if he would do it. I would love to see his face. Anyway, I've never met him. I have a lot of friends who have met him at least one time in book signings and stuff. They all talk about how kind and just gentle and friendly he is. And that's one of the reasons I admire him so much for the most part. But yeah, I don't know anything about his traveling dates or scheduling dates. Maybe Scholastic will release something like that, but with him being like, what, is he in his 80s now? I think he's in his 80s now. He doesn't do much traveling anyway, and I don't blame him, But yeah, that might be a hang-up for you, dude. You might have to go to New York City and knock on like 20,000 apartments until you can find the guy. So good luck with that. Thank you, Jenna. All right. WSRC1703 asks, top 3 favorite foods. Dude, this will be easy. Spaghetti, and then number 2 is pizza, and number 3 is probably... I almost just went out ahead and said, like, Japanese food, but I think my favorite thing from Japanese food in general is probably General Tso's chicken or beef and broccoli. I don't know, dude. I can eat the crap out of some beef and broccoli or chicken and broccoli, something like that. Those 3, dude, I do not get tired of. I love wraps, too. I love wraps quite a bit. That would be in my top 3, but it's a side thing now. I eat a lot of wraps, dude. I love wraps. But anyway, congratulations on the growth. God bless. Thank you so much. Please, thank you for being here. I don't know what I was going to ask you to do. I don't know why I said please. God bless you. Second channel, BZ3GC. Do you believe in ghosts, UFOs? If so, have you witnessed anything to do with them? So this is the hang-up here. First and foremost, you guys know I'm a Christian. I consider myself a traditional Christian, a Bible-believing Christian in the sense of I believe that the Bible's inerrant, infallible, and perfect, frankly. That's just me, not trying to press anything on you. Personally, I don't believe in UFOs. I believe that, I don't believe in ghosts either, matter of fact. I believe that what people consider to be ghosts and not so much UFOs, but aliens, I guess, who, to me, those are evidenced by what I see in the Bible as just demons. That's what I look at it as. And yes, I harshly believe in demons. I absolutely do. I believe that demons try to play trickery on people. I believe that people think that, they know some super important, mysterious family mysteries and stuff based on demonic knowledge. I really do believe that. And I know that it might seem unpopular to think that, but that's just my personal opinion, my personal perspective in this world about that. That's just me. But no, I don't really believe in ghosts. But let me tell you this. I've talked about this with some friends too. My wife doesn't get it either with my stance on ghosts and UFOs and stuff. I love, and I grew up on this, but I love watching like the Ghost Hunters TV shows and Ghost Adventures from when I was a kid. I would never do it because I'm a chicken, and I would never want to go on an abandoned building because you never know what homeless crazy is in there is going to stab you in the gut. I don't want to do that. Watching urban exploration videos on YouTube freak me out. But I love Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures. I've been watching the guy since I was a kid, and the fact that he is a pop culture phenomenon now makes me laugh so hard. I'm so glad more people know about that guy. He's so goofy, and I love him. But yeah, I love shows like that and stuff because it's just fun. It reminds me of when I was a kid around the fall and Halloween time on Travel Channel. I would watch so many ghost shows and stuff, dude. I find that stuff immensely entertaining to watch, not so much to experience, but that's just me, But anyway, hope that answered your question. I hope it wasn't, weird or preachy or anything, but that's just my stance on all of that stuff. The UFO thing has never been something I've been a big, I guess obsessor is the word. I have a boss who loves talking about Bigfoot. I live in the South, the Mid-South, basically, and I have a boss who is obsessed with Bigfoot. And he'll talk about it a lot. He's a big military guy. He was in the military for 15, 20 years. Dude's super smart, but he believes in Bigfoot, and I don't really care. Bigfoot's the least thing I care about on this planet. But the UFO thing is like that too. I don't see any evidence for that. I have a lot of people at work that will tease me about saying that I just don't see it. But that's just me, Thank you for a very out there question. A lot of people wouldn't ask something like that, which is cool. It's fun to talk about. I always love talking about stuff like that. Supernatural stuff is always fun. But anyway, thank you, Second Channel. Appreciate you, man. Not the Living Dummy. The dude that made my first ever fan art. Never had fan art before. Never thought I could call anything fan art, but this guy drew a picture of me and the other guys in the community a while back. That was pretty cool, man. Appreciate you. Not the Living Dummy. Congratulations for the 4K, man. I really love your content and what you do for the channel. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, and I couldn't do it without your support. Question 1. Do you have any of the Goosebumps first printings in your collection? People have talked about that, especially when I got into Goosebumps and reviewing it and stuff. I don't think I've ever checked any of my books to see if they were first printings, ever. So I'm sorry, I don't think I have an answer for that, but, some Goosebumps books are so rare, I was more focused on the rarity of those books, like some of the TV books and whatever. That's all I really cared about, more so than the first printing and stuff. The first printings might go somewhere one day, but I'm seeing beloved books in other communities like Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth, that even if they are first printing, they're selling for $10 on eBay for a book that people love to death. So Goosebumps, I would be surprised if the first printing thing matters. That's more of a fan care than a future in the community care, I think. But yeah. Number 2, which Goosebumps book means the most to you and why? Probably One at the Haunted Mask, particularly because I don't think I've told you too much about this in case you're newer to the channel or whatever. I read that book, even though I grew up a Goosebumps fan, I stopped reading probably around 2013-ish. I just kind of stopped reading entirely. I don't know why, it just happened. And about probably 2018, when I had my back injury, I was laying in bed, I happened to get up for a second, and I looked over at my bookshelf and I saw a bunch of Goosebumps books my grandmother, who had passed away by that time, had gotten me. And I picked them up, and I saw one of the Haunted Mask, and originally I saw how big that book was, and I thought it was just Haunted Mask 1 and 2 in one book. And I picked it up and started opening up, and I didn't see Carly Beth's name anywhere. When I read the back of the book, I didn't see Carly Beth's name anywhere. So I was thinking, okay, this has to be the 4th book in the series. This has to be new. And I read it, and I absolutely loved it. It took me a couple of days. I was still a slow reader at the time. Hadn't read a book in forever. That was the first book I'd read in, 5 years at that point? Maybe 6 if I hadn't read since 2012. And it meant the world to me. It was like your grandmother, who isn't here at that point for almost 3-4 years at that point. I think it was 2015, yeah, when she passed away. Almost 3 years after she had been gone, it's like she was still giving me presents. You know, it was such a sweet, kind moment, and that book means the world to me. It's probably one of my favorites of all time, of anything, not just Goosebumps, just favorite books ever, like up there with Brian Keene's The Rising and City of the Dead, Stephen King's Dune McKee and Bag of Bones. It's just way up there for me. It's a really great read, man. But moving along to question number 3, how did Goosebumps impact your life? Well, I've been a horror fan since I was a kid because of Dummy 3 and because of Haunted Mask 1 and 2 on VHS at Blockbuster, or Hollywood Video. Hollywood Video is where we got it from. But I've been a horror fan ever since I got introduced to this and like Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. My mom showed me Halloween when I was very young, and I loved Michael Myers. I was scared to death of him. And I've been a horror fan all of my life because of it and because of my mom. And Goosebumps really made a kind of scary thing my mom and I could watch together, which when you guys see me talk about the newer show being so offensively teenager and offensively CW-like in the most pathetic, stupid way possible, when you guys see me complain about that, a lot of that comes from the fact that it's not family-friendly anymore. It's not children-friendly anymore. I would not let my kid, if I ever had a kid, watch this show. I don't mean to turn this into a rant about the show, the new one, but I would say that it's a shame that they have taken Goosebumps, a children's property, and turned it into what it is. I know I feel like a hypocrite sometimes because a lot of people said that about the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie, but that wasn't Disney who made that. You know, that was a guy who took the open to the public rights and did his own thing, and he made a ton of money off of that. But a big major company doing that to a franchise that has not had really any kind of adaptation since 2018, and really a TV adaptation since the 90s, it just feels like a slap in the face, and it feels like people can't enjoy it the way my mom and I did when I was a kid. It's a great memory. Great memory. But Not the Living Dummy, thank you for being here, man. Really appreciate you, and God bless you, dude. Subscribe to him too, by the way. He has a channel too. He does some stuff here and there. My boy here, Jeepers 101 Creepers. Really like this guy. We've been talking a lot in the comments recently. Let me start off. Congrats on 4K. You really deserve it for all your hard work. Bet you'll hit 10K or more in no time. Here are my questions. Number 1, thank you, man. Appreciate you. I don't think I deserve any of it. I'm boring. I'm a dude that just rambles all the time. I do this at work, I do it on camera, and I'm boring. Thank you for being here, man. If we ever hit 10K subs, I don't even know what to think of that. I don't even know what I would do at that point. Like, would I have to chop my hand off on camera to impress people? I don't know. But 10K subs, that's a long way away, man. That could be 10 years away. Anyway, questions. Number 1, if these two were to get put up against each other in a crossover, who do you think would win in a fight, Slappy or Chucky? Chucky. Everybody talks about this all the time, and I have thoroughly stuck with the fact that Chucky will use knives. Slappy uses guitars. Guitars are not sharp like a knife is, and I think Chucky would win. Number 2, who is your least favorite Goosebumps monster from the OG 62 series? If you can count Chicken as a monster, that's probably it. The sponge underneath this, what is it? It came from beneath the sink, that sponge thing? That's a bad one. That's a really bad one. That's a bad one. Number 3, if you could choose one book out of the OG 62 series, which one would you like to see adapted to screen to a new modern anthological Goosebumps show? You can only choose one. Thanks, man. So OG 62, man, it's probably going to be, it would probably be Ghost Camp. I think that would be the safest bet, man. I really do. I'm a big Slappy stan, but I think that would be the one. I really do. Thank you for your questions, man. Appreciate you for commenting so much recently. Also, Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 rocks. Victor Salva is an evil person. I'm done with his questions. The Dark Free 3237. Congrats on 4,000 subs. Number 1, thank you, by the way. Question 1, I heard you were a Dragon Ball fan. Who would win between Cell and Boo? Man, I read this question the other day. And yes, I'm a diehard Dragon Ball fan. I've been a massive Dragon Ball Z fan for a long time. Never seen much of the original show. I saw a couple of episodes when I was a kid. But Z I love, GT I love quite a bit. It's a little messy in the first half of the show, but it gets really good later on for the most part. A little rushed, but a little bit better. And yes, before anybody goes there, it was canon at the time because Toriyama made that show as well. He was involved with it. He was in magazines. You can find out where he flat out says it's canon. So people can get off of their high horse about that nonsense. Dragon Ball Super, I just watched all the way recently and I loved it, and then I picked up the manga and absolutely fell in love with everything after that series had ended, dude. It's amazing. Dragon Ball Super's movies have been awful. Every single one have been bad. The Dragon Ball Z movies, almost every single one are great. Almost every single one are not good, they are great. Excellent, most of the time. Huge Dragon Ball fan. Anyway, if Cell versus Boo happened, personally, I think Cell would win. Yes, Boo is basically the T-1000, you know, but if Cell could have avoided being eaten by Boo, I think he could win. I really do. Cell is literally every single person and more put like their DNA into one monster who could just eventually upgrade so harshly that he could take out Boo because everybody else, including Goku, used a Spirit Bomb to destroy Majin Buu. I don't see why it wouldn't be possible for Cell to learn these abilities, train up enough that he could not beat Boo. I really think he could. It's just my personal opinion. I really think he could. Question number 2. When you were reviewing everything else, how would you decide on which Goosebumps book to get a review? I just kind of sporadically picked whatever I felt like reading, but there for a while, I talked about this on the channel a little bit back in the day, towards like I want to say after the first couple of years, I would deliberately take out time to read books that I thought had bad covers or just bad concepts, like Chicken Chicken, which took me till the very end, but I'd pick out books like Monster Blood 1 that just didn't impress me. Or if I had read them when I was a kid, if I remember not liking them all that much, I would say, okay, I'll read that one next, just to get it out of the way, just to have, number 1, more reviews, but number 2, to not just burn myself out with reading great book after great book after great book and then having mediocre crap to read for the rest of the years as I went through the rest of the series. And that really helped me a lot. Some people want to start from number 1 and go all the way through in order of release. I don't know how people can stand to do that. I've seen so many channels start doing that and then burn out and don't make any more videos at that point forever because they just get burnt out. It's not always the best approach to Goosebumps, in my personal opinion, unless you're a diehard fan. But I've seen a lot of channels burn out that way, man, which is a shame because I loved all of those channels who started that way. But yeah, I just kind of picked out what I wanted to read and tried to make an excuse every once in a while to read a few bad books back to back. They didn't take long. These books are very short, man. I think my biggest issue was making time to read through the TV books because they were just, good lord. They're so mediocre. Some of them are not that good, you know, but some of them are just so mediocre and so word for word to the episode as adaptations that, man, some of them I just couldn't care less about. All right. Number 3. What are your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street flicks? Man, I'm a huge fan. The only ones I'm not a big fan of, I don't hate these, but I don't love them either, are New Nightmare, and Freddy's Dead is kind of weak. Freddy's Dead is kind of weak, but outside of that, I love all of them. I really do. I'm a huge diehard Freddy fan. I forgot that you even asked this question when I was looking at this the other day, because now I'm wearing my Freddy shirt just to prove my point. I'm a huge Freddy diehard. Freddy and Saw are my personal favorite franchises of all time, tied with Star Wars. But when it comes to horror, it's Saw and it's Nightmare on Elm Street, easily. And looks like that's it, man. Thank you for the questions, Dark Tree. All right, in-closet Goosebumps fan, my boy. Make sure you hear me. I thought the reason why the series has SJW and etc. in it, I knew I smelled fire. I don't know what that means. Okay, thank you for the... Is that a question? Is it a statement? I don't know. Incel me? Like, it's not incel like I-N-C-E-L, it's an S-E-L. Incel me. I don't know. Congratulations, been subbed for a while. Glad you reached 4K. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate your support. Jordan Films, my boy. See him a lot in my comment section. Thank you for being here, man. Hello, Mr. Michael, and congratulations on your big milestone. 4,000 is really big. What an achievement. But here are my questions. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Number 1, what do you think is the scariest out of the Goosebumps books? Man, Wanted the Haunted Mask freaks me out. It really does. Haunted Mask 2 is really scary, too. I think Ghost Beach is creepy. You Can't Scare Me. Ghost Camp. Those are the big ones. But Wanted the Haunted Mask, man, being so bloody and stuff, the body horror in there, it's excellent. It really is creepy, and it gave me chills when I read it back in 2018. Number 2, if you were to fix this new Goosebumps show, what would you do differently? Number 1, it'd be an anthology show. That alone would fix almost every complaint I have about this show. The boring nature to it, they would have to rush the pace up a little bit to get it picked up, to get something to actually happen. That would fix everything. Just that one change of making it anthological, and not like an American Horror Story. Like, I feel like they're going to try to pull this where every season is its own thing. That is not going to work. Because this show is not having... It has no momentum. Nothing happens in the series. So I think the anthology route could have fixed most of the issues. And I think, frankly, a lot of people like myself who've complained about all the political stuff in it would have been fine because there would have been so little of it for how fast the episodes would have went by. It just seems like they shot themselves in the foot, man. Number 3. If you had the budget to do so, would you make your own adaptation of the first Living Dummy book? Kind of like Goosebumps Ozzy fan when he attempted to recreate an actual episode of the first Living Dummy book. Yeah, I saw that episode forever ago. Or that, not episode, but I saw his video forever ago. I thought it was really cool. I would do that. I would really enjoy that. It would be easier if I had people that lived nearby that I was really good friends with. My childhood best friend I'm still talking to all the time. And he lives like an hour and a half away. So it's like having a crew to do something like that is not easy, and I don't think my wife and I could pull it off by ourselves, because we're also not twin girls, so we can't pull that off, But anyway, that would be cool. I would enjoy it, but, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I love film, too, All right, question number 3.5. And if you did, if I made the episode... Would you make a custom Mr. Wood dummy and possibly a Slappy dummy, possibly the one that reflects the design of the show? Laugh out loud, maybe. Probably not. Just because that would be next to impossible. It would be next to impossible. I don't think I'd have the time. I don't even know how you make a dummy. How do you make a ventriloquist dummy? That seems like the most complicated, difficult thing, and then you see somebody like Jeff Dunham, the famous ventriloquist comedian, making videos of him making new dummies sometimes, and I'm like, dude, how did you do that? How did you shape that, like that wood into that face and that head and stuff, that whole mold and everything? It's just crazy. I don't know how people can do that. Number 4, following on the subject of adapting books into episodes, which books would you love to be adapted into an episode? I pretty much named them all off already, the usuals. Number 5, since you love comic books, do you enjoy the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies? So, all right. I'm going to get in some hot water here. Let me start off by saying I'm a humongous comic book guy. I was, especially back when I had my back injury. And even before that, the year before that, before I had the injury, when I started up a really good factory job at the time, I was buying up comics left and right. And I loved them. I really got into trade paperbacks. That's really where my love of comics is really focused on. At least back in the day, older comics, not new series because they suck. Let me tell you this. I love Stan Lee's Spider-Man stuff, like a lot of people claim to, but I actually enjoy it. I think that there's so many good stories from probably the 80s, like 89 and backwards, for Spider-Man. And everything after that I've read, I have not liked with Spider-Man. The only thing I've really enjoyed, aside from something like Spider-Man Noir, or the 90s Spider-Man 2099, which is one of my favorite Spider-Man ever, Miguel O'Hara is awesome. Haven't even seen the new Spider-Verse that has him in it, because I just don't have any faith in them at all to treat Miguel O'Hara with any kind of actual integrity or respect. He's one of my favorite characters of all time in Spider-Man history. The only thing I read that I loved and everybody else hated was the Spider-Verse comic that Dan Slott had made when he was still on board for Spider-Man comics all those years. I personally think the Spider-Verse book, which I have on digital, it's like 900 pages long. Dude, it is such a good read, and no one ever gives it the credit it deserves. All the different universes, from like cartoons, like to just the comic book characters crossing over, the different art styles. It's masterful, man. It was so good. You got to see like Spider-Man 1406, I think is what he was, or 1706? I think it was Spider-Man 1706. You know, the classical era. I got to see them doing that. You had this cannibal man going around and killing Spider-Man and then like trying to eat them, I think is what it was in that book. But then the Spider-Verse movie came out. The one from a few years ago. And I'm going to be honest with you, I hate it. I think it's awful. It came out around the same time, I believe, that Dragon Ball Super Broly came out. I believe. Maybe a year after that, or before it. But the choppy animation thing, I absolutely despise in every way possible, because to me, over time, especially with how fast-paced the finale of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse tries to be, number one, I just don't click with that movie. I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. I think it's... And I like Miles. Miles is one of my favorite Spider-Man characters, at least from back in the day. From the Spider-Verse books, it was pretty good. I haven't read the Ultimate Spider-Man when he took over and Peter had died, so that's a little bit, out of my way to talk about. I haven't played the PS4 games either, even though I own them. So I don't know a ton about the newer stuff they do with Miles, but the classical stuff I like from 10 years ago or whatever. Miles is cool. I love the costume. I love a lot of things about him. But that movie, and I say this with confidence, I don't know about the new one, but Into the Spider-Verse is not the Miles that I know. I had a friend who was a diehard Miles Morales fan. He doesn't read comics. He just likes Miles from the PS4 game. And when I try to tell him that I have no exposure to that, but I like Miles and the stuff I've read with him in it, when I look at Into the Spider-Verse, that is not Miles Morales. I don't care what anybody says. It's a boring teenager, and I can't stand him in the Into Spider-Verse movie. But not even that. I don't like what they did with the Raimi Spider-Man Peter from the Raimi universe in that Into the Spider-Verse movie. I don't like what they did with him and MJ. I think that's a terrible choice. I really do. People defend it all the time, I think, as a Spider-Man fan since the 90s, with the animated series being the first thing I ever watched, probably the first VHS tape I ever owned, aside from Star Wars A New Hope's Collector's Edition. I will say flat out, modern day, people don't get Spider-Man. They don't know how to write him. If it's not, I would say Andrew Garfield was the last one that was adapted properly. I really do believe that. But when it comes to comics and everything, these people do not understand heroism, so therefore they do not understand Spider-Man. Not properly. They don't understand Miles Morales. He is a checkbox now, which is a shame because he was a really good character back when he was invented. Some people say he's a ripoff. I don't really believe that. I think he's good in the back in the day stuff that I read, even though I haven't read the Ultimate stuff where he was created at. But the stuff a little bit after that, I really dig with Miles. Into the Spider-Verse, I don't like it so much that I actually hate it, frankly, because it's the first time I've ever gotten motion sickness in my life watching something, and that was repeated again when I saw Dragon Ball Super Broly. I hate both of those movies deeply. I think the CGI animation and then trying to make it choppy like hand-drawn animation is a terrible choice. The frame rate thing is just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, personally. I was bored to death throughout Into the Spider-Verse. I thought there was nothing happening in there. And I know like the new one just came out on DVD, and I almost went ahead and got Across the Spider-Verse, and I kept looking at it at Walmart, and I was like, nah, if I could rent this for $5, I would hope to be proven wrong. Maybe it'll be good, but for right now, no, I don't like it. I don't like Into the Spider-Verse. I'm scared to death what they're going to do with Miguel O'Hara. I've got all these people now telling me they've been hardcore fans of Spider-Man 2099 for their whole lives. Shut up. You're doing the same thing you did with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man when No Way Home came out. Everybody all of a sudden is an Andrew Garfield fan that I've been for since 2012, when I was a die-hard Spider-Man fan from 2012 with Andrew Garfield. Anyway, that was a lot of ranting. I just needed to get that off my chest. I'm sorry, dude. I don't mean to be so negative, but not a fan. Not a fan of what they did to Miles. Now, Spider-Gwen's okay in the movie. I will say that. But it ain't Spider-Man, dude. Anyway, that's just me. Those movies are made more for kids, though. I could see kids watching Into and Across the Spider-Verse and really liking it. I'm sure I would have when I was a kid, too. But personally, I think they're boring. I think there's, like, no action in them at all. At least the first one that I have seen. But aside from that, I don't know. But you should read the Spider-Verse book. If you haven't read it, again, it's like probably $20 for probably that whole 900-page book on digital. It's excellent, man. Absolutely masterful writing. I don't even like Dan Slott, but that was a great read, man. Really, really great read. All right, thank you for the questions. Sorry about the rambling. Those are the questions I have. Congrats on 4,000 subs. God bless you, my man. God bless you, dude. Thank you for being here. Horror Channel, a.k.a. Goosebumps Boy, right? Yeah, I think. It's weird. You know, YouTube does this thing now where they don't show me screen names. They show me at whatever screen name adaptation they have from there. So if you see me call out a name and you know it's your question but not your name, that's probably why. I meant to mention that earlier. Awesome. Congrats, man. Questions. Thank you again. Number 1, what is your favorite Halloween memory? Oh man, just my wife and I were talking about this yesterday. Just my friends and I walking around my big old neighborhood with multiple cul-de-sacs at the time. It wasn't a suburb, but it had a lot of cul-de-sacs. And just walking around out there at nighttime, it was cold, you were freezing to death. All the wind blowing, everybody's so excited. I was dressed up as either Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. My friend was dressed up as either the Hulk, Darth Vader, or Batman, excuse me. And just getting candy, man. You know, there was about 3 or 4 of us. It was me, my childhood best friend, another friend of mine, and another friend of his that would all hang out. I guess he's my friend too, but he was his friend first. Anyway, but we had a blast, man, just walking around at nighttime. We never did anything mean, like pranks or trying to scare children or anything. It was just a fun time, you know? Number 2, what is your favorite Halloween costume? Are you talking about like just in general, or are you talking about the one that I had? If it's the one I had, probably my Michael Myers costume. It wasn't like anything fancy. It was a terrible Don Shanks mask, which is the mask from Halloween 5. I didn't know any better when I was a kid. The mask still stinks to this day. Yes, I still have it, as a matter of fact. But it smells horrible. Like, it's this really cheap plastic, latex, whatever, and it smells rough, dude. That rubber's horrible. But I had the jumpsuit, I had a fake knife. There's a knife that's really popularized now that you see at like Walmart and stuff, where it looks like the one from Scream, like that style of knife, and then when you turn it upside down with the blade facing down, the blood drains into it, but if you turn it up backwards, the blood goes back into the hilt. And I had one of those I walked around with on Halloween night. I thought it was awesome, because it was Michael Myers, you know? Number 3, do you have any expectations for this Halloween? Not really. You know, not really. I'm going to take the wife out for a really wonderful dinner tonight at our favorite restaurant because, you know, it's our anniversary, 8 years ago since we started dating. And going to hand out candy. I'm really hoping to God. I talked about this last Halloween, how depressed and sad I was. The fact that we didn't have any trick-or-treaters at all last year. The year before, we had about 4 the whole night. You know? So I'm in a new neighborhood now. And we had like a family neighborhood picnic thing like a couple of weeks back that they invited us to. And so we went, and there was a lot of kids there. So I'm hoping that we can actually hand out candy to neighborhood kids this year. It would be really cool, so I'm looking forward to that later on in the day. And just because it would bring back so many memories, man. I always used to do this back when I first stopped trick-or-treating, and probably, I think I was 16, 17 or something like that. Well, that's a little bit much. Let me restart that. I think I stopped around 14. I started handing out candy about when I was 16, 17, just to do it. It was good times, though, man. Really good times. So I don't really have any expectations, man. I'm going to watch a few movies tonight, probably Haunted Mask 2 on VHS. Probably going to watch Phantom of the Megaplex. I need to watch Halloween. There was something else. Oh, yeah. My Cartoon Network Halloween 9 Creepy Cartoon Capers. This has Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween. It also has Bravo Doobie Doo, where you have Scooby-Doo and Johnny Bravo having a crossover. It's amazing. If you haven't seen those 2 episodes of Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween and Bravo Doobie Doo, you are missing out. You don't know what Halloween's like until you watch them. Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween, I've talked about over and over again. I laugh every time I watch this. I've been watching it since it came out. I think it's probably 17 years now, 20 years, something like that since this came out. I've been watching it every single year since it came out in like 2004 or 5. So, Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, it's the funniest thing I've ever watched in my life, and I stand by that. Aside from Better Off Dead, my favorite comedy of all time, that's my second favorite thing ever, and Billy and Mandy is my favorite cartoon of all time. Amazing stuff, dude. Alright, number 4. What ideas of a Goosebumps Halloween-themed book would you like to see? I'd kick this around at one point. I've seen everything I want to see. You know, I think the next thing you could do is a slappy Halloween book. If we don't already have that, I don't think we do. But that could be a cool twist, having something different like that. That should be the next House of Shivers book next year for Halloween time, for the fall. They should do a slappy book for Halloween. I know we've gotten a lot of slappy books over the recent years with Slappy World, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That could be cool for that. Maybe Slappy just deciding to prank people or something. I don't know. All right. Number 5. What did you think of the Supernatural episode called It's the Great Pumpkin Sam Winchester, Season 4, Episode 7, and thoughts on the show in general? So, I think I made it to Season 7 of Supernatural, and I quit. Because Season 6 and Season 7 were so rough. The show originally, in case people don't know, was supposed to end at Season 5, I believe. Season 5, I'm pretty sure. And the first 2 seasons are kind of, you know, episode of the week, monster of the week, creature of the week, whatever you want to call it. And then Season 3 happens, and it becomes an actual episode, like everything is tied together, season to season, from that point on. Season 3, 4, and 5 were amazing. When they decided to renew the show with Eric Kripke, the guy who created the show, I believe. When they tried to do that, they went on to make Season 6 and 7 and so on and so on. And it just got worse and worse, man. The CGI, the lack of practical effects, all of that just got so bad to the point that I just stopped caring. This episode, though, I remember the title of that episode, and I cannot remember the actual episode. But I remember it being good, if that's what I remember. If it's correct. I remember it being good, or at least me liking it. Maybe everybody else hated it, but I probably liked it. But Season 3, 4, and 5 of Supernatural, excellent material, dude. And some of the best writing on TV history, in my personal opinion. I've watched a lot of TV shows. Man, when Supernatural took over on Season 3, they brought in all of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer writers, pretty much. And man, they just took off. They were so good from that point on. But not after Season 5. Good show, man. Just, if you're going to watch it, based on my recommendation, do not go past Season 5. I'm serious. Don't do it. Alright, final question. Number 6. Probably answered it in the past, but what's your favorite Goosebumps Halloween book? Let's see. I love Wanted the Haunted Mask, but Haunted Mask 2, man, that feels like Halloween, even more so than Wanted the Haunted Mask. Haunted Mask 2, the atmosphere of it, the trick-or-treating aspect, the old man mask stuff, just all of that, to me, just lands. I like it more than the first Haunted Mask book, in my personal opinion. But that's a good one. All right. Thank you so much, my friend. Have a wonderful Halloween. God bless you. You can skip questions 3 and 4 if that's too much otherwise. No, I already answered them, man. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. God bless you as well, and happy Halloween. UK Goosebumps, my boy. It's been a while. I haven't talked to him in like 2 weeks. Congrats. Questions, by the way. Thank you. Questions. Are you missing any Goosebumps books that you need to get? No, I've got everything now. Since I took the Tennessee trip, my wife and I went to that Books A Million. I think I put a community post or something. I picked up Night of the Squawker, Fright Night, or however you say it, and then I found House of Shivers book number 1, and I bought them all. So now I have everything I need. I'm caught up, I'm ready for Goblin Monday or whatever it's called, in, February, March, whenever that's coming out. Let's see. Your least favorite Goosebumps villain? Oh, that's rough. That was kind of asked earlier. What did I say? Probably Monster Blood, Chicken. I don't know. If it's ever at all time, it's probably the Night of the Thousand Claws, cat lady doctor, whatever she was that was awful. That book sucked so bad, dude. Do you prefer the UK or US OG covers? Man, look, UK Goosebumps, I love you, man, but the US had it down and pat. Now, the UK covers look kind of cool. I have seen those. I had thought about years ago about trying to get those. But I had a feeling that if I tried, it was going to be way more expensive than I wanted because I sent a package of a board game to GoosebumpsFan forever ago. I know that's not the UK, but to send it to Australia, dude, it was like $50 for just the shipping, plus the game was not cheap. But I was just excited to be able to send a friend something, you know? But I thought about trying to get those covers from the UK on eBay or something, and the more I've looked at it, the more I was like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. I think I have enough copies of the original 62, at least my favorites of it. I think I'm good. But I do like those covers sometimes, depending on the different ones we're talking about, but I think there's nothing beating Tim Jacobus art, man. I really do. I've always wondered why they had different art for the two different areas, man. They can't be that... Like, what would make them decide to do that? It's very strange to me. Does anybody have an answer for that you can put down in the comments section? Maybe timestamp the video or something? I don't know. Yeah, but what was it? I don't understand why that happened. How many books do you think House of Shivers will be, and do you think it's Stine's last series? Well, to be fair, I thought Slappy World would be his last series, and it was not. The man is still alive, thank God. I hope he lives a very long life. I hope he lives to 100, man, because he's a great writer. He's a really cool guy. From what I've seen. Now, I would be surprised if House of Shivers goes beyond 5 years. I would be. So far, with that first book, scariest book ever, it's on a good foot. So I really think it could really reinvigorate the franchise. After how bad the show has been recently, and how rough Slappy World was most of the time, I think this would be a great opportunity to really bring it back, do some really creepy adventure stories or something. Maybe that could be the theme of House of Shivers, is just, you know, anthology stories. Or not anthology stories, but more adventure type stuff. Dark adventures, if you will. Sorry, my eyes are still trying to wake up. Yeah, but I feel like we could go that route. I feel like it could be really cool, man, if we went that direction. And I hope that it's, if it is going to be his final series, I hope it goes out in a bang. I really do, because the guy is just, he's a workhorse, man. Even now in his old age, he is a workhorse, man. People don't talk about how smart and how strong Stine's will to work is, man. The guy is just amazing. He's a machine, dude. All right, thank you for the questions, dude. Appreciate you, man. Go sign up and subscribe to UK Goosebumps, man. Really cool guy. Really, really cool guy. I wish I had a box of tissues down here. I absolutely do not. That sucks. Anyway, Chance Animates Comics, excuse me. Questions. Will you ever do a review on the first two Goosebumps movies? Well, Chance, I reviewed the sequel, Haunted Halloween. I was going to do the first one this summer, and I kept promising it, and dude, it just did not work out. With the move stuff coming up, the panic over trying to move bills over and stuff, dude, it was such an absolute panic, and then I had a really hard time at work not too long ago where I was just done. Really, really done. And so my time was just strained between being in a bad mood, not knowing what to do with my other YouTube channels, just wanting to spend time with my wife, you know, and I love to do that anyway, but just at the time I really wanted to just, at some point in your marriage, you hit a point where you're just like, you just go to that person for comfort, you know, and my wife is so wonderful about that, and you really just don't want to do anything, you just want to hang out, you know, just spend time with just her, which we do that all the time, but sometimes you just want to do that, just sit and talk more and more, and we typically do that too, but there were months and months of that during the summer. That's all I wanted to do, was just sit down and talk with her for hours on end, talk about the books she was reading, the books I was reading, the stuff I was playing on the consoles I was buying games for. Just, that was a big part of my summertime. I'm sorry that I promised you guys for a review for that movie and never got around to it. But, you know, we have plenty of time. I can do that in the future. But it's a bummer, man. I also promised commentaries for Haunted Mask 1 and 2 and Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns and Scarecrow Walks at Midnight for this month, and I just didn't have the time. I couldn't do it. But the older I get, the more I'm realizing that. And with the move being in the way too, that also complicated everything, so... yeah, it was a crazy year, man. So I'm hoping to get a review out eventually for the first 2015 movie. So just be patient with me, I'll try my best. Alright, do you like the new Slappy? No. I don't like the fact that he can't walk. I don't like the fact that... I don't like the British accent. I definitely don't like the hat, you know? None of it works for me. It just feels like the show's crapping on every monster I like, except for the Polaroid camera, yet. But, no, not a fan. Number 3, do you think they should have done a Night of the Living Dummy 10? Dude, I think they would have made so much money if they had made one of, what is it usually, 5 books per 10? Like the 10 cases? They could have done Dummy 1, 2, and 3, Bride, and Nightmare. I'm telling you, if they had done that, they would have made bukus of money, dude. They do not understand how much money they missed out on by not doing that yet, and how much they're missing out on it. I cannot talk to save my life. They don't realize how much they're missing out on it by not doing it still. Dude, they can make so much money at Scholastic, and they choose to play stupid. They really do. I'm convinced of that. Anyway, Chance, thank you for the questions, man. God bless you and happy Halloween. I don't even know how far I am in this list, dude. I've been recording for like an hour now. All right. Vincent Vigliotta. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm not even going to try to repronounce that. 8536. Thank you for being here, man. Congrats on 4K. Thank you for being a part of it, man. Here's my questions. What other Series 2000 books would you love to have seen adapted in the 90s show? Man, I feel like the Horrorland book, Return to Horrorland, could have been kind of cool. Maybe Slappy's Nightmare for sure. That would have been a really good one. I'm trying to think of what else. Creature Teacher could have been cool too. Creature Teacher could have been a really good one. That would have felt like a really good old Creature Feature episode from Goosebumps. That should have been something they did. They did not do it though. What is the most underrated, underappreciated book in any of the series? Man, I'm going to tell you right now, people sleep on the Most Wanted Dr. Maniac book more than they ever should have. People trash it all the time. They trash Dr. Maniac all the time. It's not fair, man. He's a good monster slash villain or whatever. He's so funny, and I'm telling you, if you just imagine Jim Carrey playing the guy, you'll have a good time. People hate that book, and I don't understand why. I get why you hate the one from Horrorland, the introduction of Dr. Maniac. What is it, Robbie Schwartz versus Dr. Maniac or something like that? I get why people don't like that one from Horrorland, but the Most Wanted one, whatever it's called, Dr. Maniac something something, that's a great read, man. I had a good time with it. I don't care what anybody says. So that's the most underrated to me, at least off the top of my head. I also feel like, personally, I think Ghost Beach and You Can't Scare Me are unfairly hated. Quite a bit. All right. Thank you, Vincent. Appreciate you for being here, man. God bless you. Happy Halloween. Gunnar Martin, what is your favorite other Goosebumps YouTuber? All right. So let me make this first and foremost very clear. I want to put an asterisk on this video. I watch all of my friends. I watch all of them. Every single one of them. This is going to sound completely like a cop-out, but I watch all of them and I love all of their videos. If I don't like your videos, I won't watch it, and I will flat out tell you you suck. Sorry, I will. But pretty much everybody that makes Goosebumps content on YouTube, whether it be the guys that I talk to very frequently, like Goosebumps Completionist, or whether it be somebody like In Closet Goosebumps Fan, who I just, posted whatever he was telling me about here in this comments section. They all make good videos. They all take out the time to make content for the community. And even down to like Monster Blood, he's another reviewer as well, a good friend of mine. Fantastic reviewer, man. He doesn't just do Goosebumps on his channel, but everything the dude talks about is fascinating. Grayson does great videos. Everybody I talk to that make content that are on like the Discord and stuff, BD Horror, all of these guys make fantastic videos, but I don't think I watch any of them more than I watch Completionist. I mean that, and I don't mean to like be mean to my other friends, but this is the thing though. This is why I have an asterisk on my video. I don't even watch as much of Completionist Goosebumps stuff as I do his horror stuff, because he has another channel that he talked about briefly on his Goosebumps channel called Horror FFA, which stands for Horror Free For All. Dude, this guy, he's probably one of the most underrated YouTubers I've ever seen in my life. Yes, he's a friend of mine, but Completionist is extremely talented about taking spoiler-filled videos and making them actually fun to watch. I've always been worried that if I tried to do what he does, that it would suck, that it would be boring, and I've tried it multiple times on other channels with movies and stuff, and he just does not work out for me. I just think I'm just boring, dude. That guy can take videos that he can make an hour long, and I will be sucked into them the entire time. Same thing with Monster Blood, too, but, you know, Completionist puts out things on his Horror FFA channel, and the dude, if you love horror movies, this is one of the most knowledgeable people you will ever meet in your life. I swear to God. It was like meeting my long-lost brother or something, man. We're already too much alike when it comes to taste and even just personal life stuff about us. You know, we both have been from Virginia. You know, it's weird to me meeting somebody who's so much like me. But most of our opinions are almost lined up T for T when it comes to entertainment stuff and books and movies and all of that. So the guy's just awesome. And I love, too, the people who defend fandom. I really love that. Too many people don't do that, and I think it's very unique to see somebody who actually cares about what the fans think and what's good for the fandom. That's a great thing, you know what I mean? And but again, his horror content, I watch more than I watch his Goosebumps stuff. So if that counts, if that's not a cop-out, that's my answer. Go check out Horror FFA, but check out all my friends. Again, BD Horror, Monster Blood, Goosebumps Aussie Fan, really great guys, been one of the big granddaddies of the Goosebumps community forever now. All of these guys rule, man. Grayson, the Goosebumps kid, these guys rule, man. They make so many good videos, dude, all the time. But anyway, sorry for that rambly answer, but I absolutely had to be careful because I don't want to piss any of my friends off. You guys rule. I love watching your content. I might not comment on everything like I tried to back in the day, but you know, I watch all of your videos, and I really, really love everybody's content in the community. Edited, unedited, I think everybody does really good stuff, personally. But yeah, that's my answer, man. Really great content creators. This is like the most consistent community to have really good content creators, too. Movie reviews can be a little bit wacky, and I'm a part of that issue, too. You have a lot of hit or miss shills and stuff, you know, with movie reviews. But like the Goosebumps community, you don't really see as many shills as you would expect. For something that's kind of trying to make a comeback with the new show, you don't really see as many as you'd think you would see. But the actual, just everyday average Joe that makes a YouTube channel about Goosebumps typically makes really entertaining content. So that's really cool. I love that about this series, this franchise, this community, like I said. Really awesome stuff. But go check out all my buddies. But Gunner, thank you for the question, dude. Dima Dog, if you could add an episode to the show, what book would it be about? I've already answered that one a bunch. Probably One of the Haunted Mask, a proper adaptation of You Can't Scare Me. Not like the 90s show, not like the new show's probably going to do either. Just something like that, I would say. Goosebumps UK. This is like a different channel, I guess. That's weird. This is a different guy. Anyway. Cool, he asked a lot of stuff, too. Number 1. What's your favorite Goosebumps series except the original 62? Probably Series 2000. If you had asked me like a year ago, probably closer to 2 years ago, I probably would have said GYG. I think GYG is extremely slept on. But Series 2000, I love the dark tone. I love most of the books. It has a lot to offer. It really does. Number 2, what's the scariest, goriest Goosebumps book in your opinion? No joke, One of the Haunted Mask. One of the goriest books I've ever read in my life, much less as a Goosebumps book. For real. Number 3, do you have Letterboxd? I do, but I barely use it. I might jump in for a few minutes or see some opinions of friends of mine. I have a couple of good friends, Parker and Anthony, I've talked about briefly on the channel. I've been friends with these guys since Terminator Genesis came out. We've talked forever. We've been really good friends for years, man. But they dragged me on there. Parker and Anthony dragged me onto that, and I liked it at first, and then I just got bored. For anybody that doesn't know what Letterboxd is, it's basically just a review site for movies only. They don't really have TV shows or any kind of video games or anything like that. It's just movies, pretty much. But to me, it's more obviously fair when it comes to its reviews and content than something like IMDb, which I pretty much trust more often for show times and stuff like that for movies, or information I use for reviews I do on other channels for movie involvement. But Letterboxd is good. Letterboxd is good, I just don't use it. You know what I mean? Have you ever had that? Like, I like Reddit, but I don't really use it as much anymore. I use it sparingly, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. That's about it, you know? All right, number 4. Do you have any of the 90s UK Goosebumps covers? You know, I forgot to say this when UK Goosebumps asked that, or asked something similar about the book covers. I don't know a single one of them. The only thing I have really in the collection is the TV books from the UK. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, they basically did not have the same TV books like I have over here of just novelizations of the TV episodes. They actually took, like, a couple of books, like My Harriest Adventure or Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and compiled them into one book that looks like it's about 200, 300 pages long. And it's just the original novel. It's not an adaptation of the episode. It's just the original novel, a couple of novels, put into one book. That's the TV books you can get in the UK. I have those up here on the top shelf somewhere, besides Slappy World and Most Wanted. But, or I think it's just Slappy World up there. But I have those up there. And, they're okay. You know, the covers kind of suck. They're not as good as the actual UK covers of, like, the OG 62 or anything like that. But it's neat, you know. But that's like the only thing I own, you know, for the UK stuff. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Number 5, opinions on the MCU. All right. I got lots of things to say, man. As you've seen, Disney has ruined everything. Star Wars, MCU, Goosebumps now, they ruin everything. Let me start with the fact that I was a diehard MCU fan until Endgame came out, and Endgame was amazing. It was, like many people, like Razorfist said on YouTube, my personal favorite YouTuber of all time. Razorfist made mention of it being a prophetic title to show the downfall of every bit of superhero cinema. And I agree 100% with this point, that it's done now. It should have ended at Endgame. They did not take a break at all, really. The only good movie I've seen from the MCU, or good product in general, since Endgame, has been No Way Home. And it was amazing. I loved No Way Home. I'm not even a fan of the first 2 Spider-Man Tom Holland films, but No Way Home was incredible. That was one of the best achievements in movie history ever, in my opinion. That will go down in history, like Endgame, as one of the biggest things to ever happen in movie history. Ever. The MCU is dead. It just is. It's as dead as the comics it's based on now, which is a shame. I started to hear wacky, shaky opinions back when Ultron came out, and I wasn't even a fan of the first Avengers movie. I wasn't a fan of Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World. I thought all those sucked, personally. Yeah, I said it. Avengers sucked. I don't care what anybody says. It's not that good of a movie. Get over yourself. Matter of fact, I'll go even further. Dark Knight Rises, which I hate deeply, because of how stupid it was and how much of a terrible ending to a trilogy it was, that's a better movie than The Avengers. And Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012, same year as those other two, it's better than both of them. It totally is. I'll defend that till the day I die. The MCU used to be so great, man. It used to be so great, having Iron Man 1 and 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Dude, these movies were incredible. Endgame, Infinity War, they are absolute historical landmarks of movies, and they will never be shot down. But honest to God, in the future, no one will ever talk about anything coming out after No Way Home. No one. Not a single person will ever talk about any of that crap in the future. Give it 100 years, if we're still around as a planet, no one will ever be talking about that crap. People will just be talking about No Way Home and prior to No Way Home. That's it. The Doctor Strange 2 movie was horrible. I deeply despised it. Captain Marvel, which came out between Endgame and Infinity War, I thought it would be terrible. It was mildly okay, mildly entertaining, even though I don't like Brie Larson, like most people, you know. What else did I see that came out? I haven't even watched Black Widow, and I'm a massive Black Widow Scarlett Johansson fan. You know, I can't bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to sit down and watch them ruin Scarlett or Black Widow. The things I've heard about it were just shocking. Shockingly stupid. What else was there that came out? I don't think I remember any movies that have come out. I haven't seen Shang-Chi because I just couldn't care. I saw The Eternals. The Eternals was the most embarrassing, boring garbage I've ever watched in my life. I just could not understand how you make dude bro movies like Thor and Thor the Dark World. And then over here you make something so stupid and dull like The Eternals. The Eternals is one of the biggest movie mistakes I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the biggest mistakes the MCU ever made. And it doesn't even feel like it was made to just sell action figures. It totally doesn't. It just seems like a completely bad move to try to set up something that people just absolutely hated, man. I don't know anybody who likes Eternals. And rightfully so, because it's shockingly boring. But the MCU has taken a turn now with other things like the Winter Soldier Captain America show, which looked like it was going to be trash. The She-Hulk show, which is probably the worst thing they've ever done. Probably the worst thing aside from Eternals that they've ever done. They had to fire everybody and hide in a vault, the new Daredevil show. Now they're going to remake that again. I mean, they just, I don't know. Dude, you can't even argue that Disney is not trash anymore because the stuff that they did to the MCU, the stuff they did with Star Wars, they just make poor decision after poor decision constantly as a company. And it's like they don't like money. It's like they don't like money anymore. They don't know what sells anymore. Now they're using the superhero fatigue excuse. No, that's not what's happening here. Superhero fatigue is absolute nonsense. That is the most garbage thing to try to push off the responsibility of you making bad movies constantly. That is the most stupid response I've ever seen in my life, and I haven't heard one person, normie or otherwise, say that they're just sick of movies being superhero-related content. Because The Batman proved that wrong with Robert Pattinson. Everybody was going into that movie talking about how the movie looked good, they had no faith in Robert Pattinson to be a good Batman, and he proved everybody wrong, even though I don't like the movie. He proved me wrong. That was the greatest example ever of people being shot down over that. DC is making the same mistakes, but the MCU, it's like they deliberately go out of their way to throw out money. Truly. Sorry for all that answering for that question, but you have to understand, I grew up with that. Since 2008, the same year Dark Knight came out, I was in middle school, dude. And I've watched those movies over and over and over again, even the bad ones, over and over again when I was growing up. And to see them crash and burn the way they have was something I was a teenager through, and then an adult through. That whole franchise, got to appreciate every moment of it. It is absolutely ruined now. It's tainted everything about it now, where people just can't even enjoy it anymore. Such a shame. Number 6. Do you have any tips for growing a Goosebumps channel? Honestly, just make videos. Just make videos, whatever style you want to that feels comfortable to you. Make them. Don't care what other people think about it, just make the videos. I had people for years tell me that I was wrong for not editing my videos. Look, man, my channel didn't grow fast the way a lot of channels did, like Nightmare Fueled Entertainment or GoosebumpsFan or even Zach Baby TV, but it grew relatively fast just for covering new content, like Goosebumps News, any announcements that came out, anything like that. That was it. And doing the book reviews, too, gives you enough out there for people to find the channel. It gives them enough that if they search up Goosebumps, they will more than likely in the first 20 or so videos find one of my videos, because I have almost 600 videos out there in the ether of the internet, in the ether of YouTube for that matter. And it seems like a lot of people are still to this day looking for Goosebumps content, even when I wasn't making videos for like 4 or 5 months after I finished up reviewing all the books this year, early this year. I think I sat around and I think I still gained probably 300 subscribers, maybe 400 in that time, something like that. I don't remember the channel analytics on it, but I was surprised that that was still happening because of all the content that was still out there. Now, to be fair, if you're not putting out content, YouTube will absolutely slow down how much they show your videos to other people. And at that point, the only time you see new subscribers and stuff are when people happen to be actively searching for Goosebumps content and happen to come across you, whether it be your videos or somebody else recommending you. So that helps, but I also think get involved with the community, man. Talk to other people in the comment sections of their videos on their channels. That kind of community tight-knit nature is what made Goosebumps as a community so much fun. It wasn't really that tight-knit, but it kind of was at the same time. And it before the new show came out, the kind of conversations you could have with people about the series were so wholesome and fun, and now they're not. So whoever you talk to, try to build a relationship with some of these people, man. I really think it helps. I think other people will go through their comment sections of these bigger YouTubers. They see, hey, this other guy over here said he has a YouTube channel about reviewing books. They immediately look at your channel. I really believe that. You know why? Because I do that too. So just do that. Have the word Goosebumps in your name somewhere. I've noticed that people who don't do that, it seems like it's harder for them to grow in the community unless people recommend them more. So try that out too. That's just my recommendation. Do what you want to. Again, I personally think too, when it comes to the editing versus unediting thing, or non-editing thing, whatever, personally, I think YouTube, with all the burnout and all the people getting upset because they're spending hours and hours of their life trying to edit one video and it's not getting more than like 20 views, people are getting really discouraged, man. And I think, again, the goal of this is just get a lot of videos out there. I really believe that. Not rush them. Try to take your time. That's one mistake I'm learning more and more about on my movie channel reviews I do. But take your time on getting out content. Make it worthwhile. Try to make it fun, something enjoyable to watch. If you don't feel like it's right, don't put it out there. I'm telling you, don't do it. If you feel like it sucks, more than likely it probably does. But I've had other guys who tell me their content sucks or that they feel like they can't get the channel to grow anymore. And I talk to them and I'm like, let me see your channel. I go watch it and they're doing great, man. Really, really great content. So approach it the best possible way. Take notes if you need to, if you're going to do reviews or whatever. Just make it fun to watch. That's all people want is entertainment, man. Not that I'm even the guy to really say that, because I'm not entertaining. Again, I'm very boring. But for whatever reason, people connect with people. I don't know why, but they do. Another thing I've noticed too, I used to like to do audio-only videos where I just had a picture on the screen on different channels I did and my voice. For whatever reason, people connect with faces. I don't understand why. I much prefer doing things just on a microphone. I would like to go back to doing that on another channel I'm working on, but people just don't connect with that. I don't know what it is about it that people don't like. There always has to be the visual stimulation, but this is a static camera shot. You know what I mean? Like, why would this be stimulating? So there's that whole debate too. That's my advice to you about that. But try your best, work hard. Any kind of work ethic you put out there that's hard work, people will appreciate it. Doesn't matter if it's edited, unedited, people will appreciate that. So it's just about finding your audience. You have to be patient too, because when I started this about 5 years ago, it still seemed like it was fairly feasible to get people to come to your channel. And I'm telling you now, it does not seem like that at all. Depending on what you're doing, I don't know. I really don't. I have a lot of friends who use YouTube just to listen to podcasts, but they will not watch videos. That's true, I swear. There's a lot of friends of mine at work that are like that, so just take notes, remember that. Try to observe what you see around you if you happen to be old enough to work a job. Observe what you see people say about YouTube, what they happen to be watching, not watching, whatever, what they like, dislike. Pay attention to trends. Trends can help out, even though I don't really follow that because Goosebumps really gets like a trend here and there and not very much more. One of the ones I missed out on that I haven't watched any of my friends' videos about was the Mount Rushmore thing everybody was doing. I completely missed that train. I did. I wasn't paying attention. I was busy with all the stuff going on at work and whatever, having that hard period of my life that was going on recently with the work stuff and the work issues I was having with some coworkers. And I missed out on that whole trend. I didn't watch videos about it. I think I missed everything. So to this day, I still don't understand what a Mount Rushmore is. I'm assuming it's like the pillars of what you consider to be important in the franchise or important in your part of the franchise. What you look forward to, what got you into this or that in Goosebumps. So, anyway, very long answer. Sorry about that. I almost knocked my drink over. My heart sank and I had to clear my throat at the same time. That was very unhealthy. All right. Number 7. Who is your favorite Goosebumps monster/villain except Slappy? Probably Dr. Maniac, if I'm being honest with you. I love mud monsters as well. Those are the big ones. I also love Haunted Mask, obviously, but that's another go-to. Most people say Slappy, and then if the person says except Slappy, they say Haunted Mask. But Mud Monsters and Dr. Maniac are like the two big ones for me that I love quite a bit. Number 8, do you think Disney Plus Goosebumps will get a season 2? No, it ain't happening. My biggest reason for that too, and I've said this in numerous comments when I argue with people who come in bad faith as bad actors, in my comment section, I've tried to make the point over and over again. Everybody was talking about how amazing it was that Goosebumps hit number 1, like 2 days after it premiered, and after everybody was talking about it, and it went the exact way that I told you it was probably going to go. Because that day, everybody was talking about how wrong I was and how wrong other people were that were hating the show. Because this show made number 1. Did you know the next day it dropped down to number 6 on Hulu? Did you know that? I don't think you knew that. I don't know about Disney Plus, but on Hulu, where I actually watch it, it's down to number 6 at the time, and now it's completely non-existent on the top 10 of each day. So just thought I'd let you know that in case you're in any doubt at all that they lied to you when they told you how popular it was. It's not, and it's not going to get a season 2, and if it does, it'll be worse than season 1 probably, if I had to bet. But I have a feeling they will cancel this show after season 1. They'll hold it in hiatus and pretend like it's going to exist, and it won't. And then it'll get canceled probably. And then it'll get removed from the streaming service, just like Just Beyond, the other R.L. Stine series, and Willow, and a bunch of other shows that Disney was ashamed of and removed because of how poor the quality was and how it got no viewing at all, and if anything, was a total detriment to their entire reputation. So, just watch out for how that's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm waiting for it. Just sitting around, just doing this, like an evil supervillain watching it happen. It ain't getting a season 2, dude. I will argue that till the day I die because there ain't nobody watching this but the Goosebumps fans, and that's not how you make a show last. So, anyway. Number 9, not a question, but congrats on 4K. I've been watching you since 2020. Good God, dude. How did you stand that for so long? And you're one of my favorite Goosebumps YouTubers. Hey, man, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, man. Hope your channel takes off, and I hope that you get a lot of success from that. I hope it opens up some doors for you to have some cool content to... or opportunities, I guess, in the future for you. Everybody, go subscribe to Goosebumps UK. Really cool guy. All right. The Old Paths 7. Number 1, what book would you want made into an episode? I already talked about that. Number 2, what is your favorite book of all the series? I kind of already talked about that. Probably one of the Haunted Mask. Probably Haunted Mask 2. Somewhere in there. Ghost Camp. I don't know. Number 3, what is the best series? Probably the OG 62, man. The OG 62 just has so much going for it. When I look at the variety on the shelves of silly stories, competent stories, scary stories, most of my interest goes to the OG 62. It just does. I love it. It's great. It has so much going for it. It just really pulls off that really well, being the original series. And I think it was at a time when Stine was doing everything completely fresh, Yeah, you had a bad book here or there, but it was not as common as it is now, So... Old Paths 7, thank you for your questions, man. YouTube sucks right now. 1168. Number 1, do you think the Olsen twins come back acting being an action film or a vampire horror? If the Olsen twins decided to come back, which I doubt they ever will, if they did, I would like to see them do like a horror thing. There was a movie years ago called The Forest. It came out in theaters. It was like a chick looking for her twin sister who had apparently went out in the woods in I think it's Japan where that is, that people go out in those woods and kill themselves. I think they could do a really cool film with something like that involving actual twins, not just one actress playing 2 different roles with a wig on. That would be cool. I would like that. Not an action film, though. I don't think they would do very well at that. They don't have the acting chops for that with all the drugs and stuff they did, but... horror, I could totally see them pulling that off and being good. I miss the Olsen twins, dude. When I was a kid, they were everywhere. Everywhere, man, in the 90s. Anyway, number 2. I guess he's asking, do you play any Legend of Zelda games? I've played 2 in my life. I've played the one for Switch. What is that one called? Not the new one. Not Tears of the Kingdom or whatever. It was the one that got ported from Wii U. What is that game called? It's amazing. It really is. It's like the only one I've actually gotten a decent chunk of the game done. Probably never going to beat it. I'm not good at Zelda games. But I like that one a lot. I also bought 3DS's version of Majora's Mask, and it's incredible. Really, really beautiful game. Just amazingly creepy in its atmosphere, its music. But once again, I'm terrible at it. I cannot beat the game to save my life. I played it quite a bit years ago, loved it, laughed my tail off watching the thing, and I never got through it. Just not going to be able to finish it, but I love the game, truly. Number 3, what are your thoughts on Dragon Ball Daima? Now, if you don't know what this is, Dragon Ball recently had an announcement that there's going to be like a new anime, I believe, that's called Dragon Ball Daima. And I got a lot of doubts about it already. It's not CGI animation like Super Broly had for the fight scenes or like the superhero movie had, which is good. But Dragon Ball Daima seems to be going to this baby Looney Tunes route of having all the people that were adults now turn into children. And I don't know how I feel about that, because that was done in Dragon Ball GT with Goku, and that's some of the worst part of Dragon Ball GT in my personal opinion. They tried to go this adventure route. They had Goku be a kid, but he could still go like Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 3 and stuff, which was cool, but I don't know. I got my doubts about Daima. The trailer was released when it was announced onto the internet, and it looks okay. It looks okay. The animation looks fantastic. It's everything else. Goku has like his red pole stick back now. I just don't know what we're going to do with this. Is this the real next natural route to go for Dragon Ball, or is it just like a spin-off? I don't want to call it canon, because canon is stupid. People are focused way too much on the word canon. It's so dumb. The only thing that should be applicable to are things like Star Wars, you know? But I just, I'll be honest with you, I'm so let down with how the Super movies were and how amazing the show and manga are for Super. I cannot believe we're skipping the what are the 2 characters from Super's newest manga books? Moro and, God, what is the guy's name? Granola. Moro and Granola. I cannot believe we're skipping those storylines to make this crap. Just, I don't know. If you guys had read the manga and you know about Moro, or Maro, however you say his name, and Granola's storylines, you would understand why I'm mad about it. I think Daima is not a good direction to go, unless it's a spinoff, then I don't care. You know, I'll watch it, I guess, at some point, but that should not be the direction we go with the Super show, or whatever. But anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts for Dragon Ball Daima. I hope it's good. It probably will be good. It's just going to be weird having Vegeta be a pouty child. I don't know. What are Christopher Sabat and Sean Schemmel going to do now when this comes to America and gets dubbed? Anyway, number 4. Which is better, Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps? Alright, it kind of depends on what you mean by better. When it comes to filmmaking aspect, when it comes to scares, when it comes to creepiness, I think Are You Afraid of the Dark really pulls that off better than Goosebumps. I really believe that. But when it comes to iconic nature, personally, I think Are You Afraid of the Dark has iconic things within itself that people know about. If they're a big fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark, there are things people will talk about endlessly because of how good some of it is, especially some of the monsters, you know, that kind of thing. But Goosebumps is something that even normies know about because they bought books for their kids, they read books themselves. Goosebumps has things like Slappy the Dummy. If I go to work and I say the word Slappy the Dummy or Haunted Mask, people know where it's from. And I've done that at work, and people know where it's from. If I go in there saying, like, whatever monster name from Are You Afraid of the Dark, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. They're not going to know, they won't even know the title of the show, for that matter, which is sad. But I'm talking about just normies. I'm not talking about on the internet or on my channel, just in normie culture. I think Are You Afraid of the Dark is mostly better made. Unless we're talking about the Dummy 3 episode of Goosebumps or the Haunted Mask 1 and 2 episodes or one of the big episodes like that that have a lot of budget behind it. But personally, I think Goosebumps is more iconic and more, I guess, family-friendly. You know, Are You Afraid of the Dark is not really gory or anything like that. It has some moments that kind of make you question that a little bit, but for the most part, it's not as family-friendly because it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I mean, terrified me. Truly terrified me. But, I don't know. Goosebumps I like more, but I understand why people think Are You Afraid of the Dark is better. I really do, because it kind of is technically when it comes to the filmmaking aspects of it. And let's see. Number 5, the final question from YouTube Sucks Right Now 1168. What are your thoughts on Being Erica American Remake? I don't know what that is. Is that like an anime or something? I don't know. Not really sure. But thank you anyway for your questions, man. I appreciate you. God bless you and happy Halloween. Ugh, my nose, dude. What is it with today? It's kind of cold in the house, you know, especially down here in this finished side of the basement. God, we're already going on an hour and a half. Entropic dismay. Why do you think Fear Street never caught on the way Goosebumps did? Fear Street was my introduction to R.L. Stine, and I still personally prefer those books to Goosebumps. Personally, because I think most of what succeeds in the world nowadays are based on what kids like. I really do, and I think it was like that in the 90s too. Fear Street was mainly the 80s, but Fear Street was directed towards teenage audiences. Teens in the 80s had a lot more they were getting into than books. There was a lot more they were opening up than books. I don't think they read as much as kids possibly have the opportunity to. Kids usually do things their friends think are cool. Peer pressure is a thing, and peer pressure can also not be called peer pressure, but be something like, oh, this kid I go to school with loves Spider-Man. I want to know more about Spider-Man. Then it just blossoms into a lifelong love of Spider-Man, more than likely. Goosebumps, I think, was the successor to that idea of just being something that was very similar to comics. You had numbered books, you had them in order, they were all standalone stories basically that you could read and pick up at any point, in any order, at any point, which was an amazing marketing tactic, I think. And they were everywhere. They were absolutely everywhere, man. My wife just sent me like a link to something. What is this? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I just got a notification from my wife talking about how today is the day that you get to like download free horror books and stuff online on like your Kindle and stuff. So that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to do that when I finish up this video in probably 2 hours. That's the amount of progress I'm making, right? But personally, I think Fear Street didn't take off because it was more of a teenage-focused thing. Goosebumps was more of a children's thing, and it took off because it was fun, and most people don't realize there weren't many scary books made for kids. And when Goosebumps started doing it, Stine got a lot of criticism for that, unfairly. Alvin Schwartz had the same thing previous to that with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But Goosebumps was not as Scary Stories was. It was something that was more silly sometimes, more adventurous, and if you even came from like a Christian household, if you didn't want your kid reading something that could freak him out, you could look at the cover and tell automatically, this is going to be a goofier book, I'm going to buy this one for my kid. And you'd probably be okay and safe with that. People don't realize how incredibly smart Goosebumps was when it came to marketing, with the books, the TV show, any of it. It was so intelligent how they approached that people don't appreciate that enough, in my personal opinion. But that's why I think so. Thank you for your question. God bless you guys. Or dude, whatever. Pulp Fiction Books, another friend of mine. Really cool guy too. Number 1, what's your favorite Goosebumps book that isn't a slappy or haunted mask story? Probably Ghost Camp. Again, that's a really good one in my opinion. Number 2, if you could adapt a modern Goosebumps book into a 90s TV episode, which would it be? I kind of answered this earlier. I think that like Diary of a Dummy would be excellent. I really do believe that. Number 3, what's your favorite TV show ever? God, that's hard to answer. On one hand, I want to talk about like genres and stuff. On the other hand, I kind of want to talk about live action versus animation. Animation-wise, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Hands down, best cartoon ever made. I personally stand on that. If you're a big horror fan or just a comedy fan, you cannot pass up that show. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Regular TV shows, I'm a massive fan of The Twilight Zone, the original series. I love it. I love it to death. What else? What else would I say is my favorite? Ed, Edd n Eddy is really great. That's a really great one. Three's Company is one of the best live-action comedy sitcoms ever made. I grew up on that. It's wonderful. People talk about all this love for Golden Girls. They never talk about Three's Company, ever. Three's Company is incredible, you know. Boy Meets World is perfect, except for the first season. The first season kind of sucks, but everything after that, season 2 and onward, it's incredible. It's one of the best shows ever made, ever written. It helped me so much back when my parents were getting a divorce and I had first found the show a couple of years before their divorce. That show helped me so much, more than anybody would ever realize, because of the things these characters go through and the people they leaned on, like Mr. Feeney. That kind of stuff helped me so much as a kid that I don't even have words for it, dude. But yeah, all of that stuff is like up there for me. Number 4, how are you and your wife doing? We're doing great, man. We're having a great time. As I said, today is the 8-year anniversary since we had our first date. Or not our date, basically when we became official, which was a few days after our first date on the 27th of October. But we're doing great, man. We're having a blast. She's just as goofy and funny as ever. I love that chick. Rachel is hilarious. I want to get a video with her on here, but I'm trying to find the perfect Goosebumps book to get her to read, because she's a massive reader all of a sudden the last year or so. Dude, right now, this is what I'm dealing with, right? My wife makes me feel like garbage because, not in a serious way, this is a joke. This chick reads faster than anybody I've ever met in my life, and if she had a Goosebumps channel, she'd be done in a couple of years. Probably so. This chick read, so far this year, we're not talking about like 100-page books, we're talking like at least 200 to 300-page books. All the way up to like 700, 800-page books. This chick loves romance, and dude, no joke, she has read, I think the last count that she showed me between physical and digital, she reads on Kindle Unlimited because it's a little bit easier than buying all of these books. She's at like 160 books this year. 160 this year. Do you know how stupid that made me feel? Like, I don't think I've ever read that much ever in 1 year. Ever. Even when I started reading Goosebumps so heavily, I don't think I ever read 160 books in 1 year, dude. Maybe 90, maybe 80. But that's it. That's it. I don't think I ever came close to that number, man. But that chick, she can burn through a book, dude. She reads so fast for someone who never read her entire life, really. That was something she got into last year, like I said. And we have like 2 more months of the year. This chick will probably hit 200 books by the end of the year. Maybe 190 at the minimum, I would say, because she just burns through them, man. She can kind of read them at work a little bit. She reads them at home before I get home from work. Dude, she is just the fastest reader ever. But I love that chick. Best wife you could ever ask for. Rachel, I love you. Thank you for being in my life. Moving along, though. Thank you again, Pulp Fiction Books. Appreciate you for being here, man. Dylan Goosebumps, another newer Goosebumps YouTuber. Check him out, too. Question, what is your least favorite Tim Jacobus cover? I kind of answered that one earlier. What was the answer I came up with? Some of the goofier ones, like the Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, is a great example of one. The Chicken cover, obviously. Then you have some, like his version of Be Careful What You Wish For. Not a big fan of that cover. That's pretty much the picks I go for. Monster Blood's original cover is kind of cool with the staircase, but the actual content of the cover is just not there for me. Thank you for watching, Dylan. Appreciate you, man. God bless you. Happy Halloween. Man, I still have so much to go. Oh, God. All right. It's going to be such a long video, dude. CSCDXLVII9858. Dude, that's way too long. He asked quite a few questions. Number 1, what is your favorite car? This is going to be very specific. I believe the year is a 1994 Camaro, specifically in black. I love Camaros. I specifically love that particular one because it's what my grandfather had. If I could ever have a Camaro, that would be the one I would buy. I love it. It's an amazing car. If it came to a supercar, though, probably a Ferrari Enzo. I've always wanted an Enzo. And one of these days, I'll just decide to buy one because I want to. I'll probably have to lose my house to do that. But still, you know, there's not much room in the back of an Enzo for books. So, I don't know. But Ferrari Enzo is a beautiful car. Number 2, what is the best Goosebumps setting for a book, e.g. swamp or camp? I'm going to go with camp, man. Camp and woods, I would say. Either one. They don't have to be together, but just either one. There's something about that atmosphere Stine can build so well. The newest Goosebumps book, House of Shivers #1, proves that, in my personal opinion. The woods and stuff, Stine can write that like a beast, man. Number 3, what is your favorite Spider-Man movie? I grew up on the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. I love that movie. But The Amazing Spider-Man 1 beats it. I don't care what anybody says, I like it more. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's mainly because of Andrew Garfield and Mark Webb's directing. I really believe that. Amazing little film. Not perfect. Not perfect, but it's my personal favorite, you know? Number 4, how did you get your back injury? My wife was moving into an apartment when we were dating, and of course I was still living at home. She was moving into an apartment from her old childhood home, so I was helping her move, and this chick packed boxes way too heavy. And her apartment had like 3 sets of stairs you had to go to get to her apartment, and it was brutal. We had all kinds of people that were supposed to show up that day from my family, and I still to this day hold it against them the fact that they did not come. They didn't call ahead to say, hey, I can't make it, or I had something that happened, whatever. Didn't call to say they slept in. They just didn't show up. And so all of that work fell on me. Eventually my mom and my grandfather came over to help out too. And we got all that stuff moved. And I think I went for about 2 months. I want to say a month, maybe 2 months. That by the time February of 2018 rolled around, I couldn't walk. Like, I just was in so much pain all the time. And it turned out what that was. This will be a good lesson for some of you folks from an old guy. It turned out what it was is back pain with a L4 and L5 issue. I had some degenerative discs there, but L4 and L5 had slipped out of place in my spine. And it was a lot of physical therapy, a lot of doctor appointments. I had this one doctor who hated my guts. I had an insurance company that kept changing around who was my agent, and they just didn't tell you when they changed your agent. Dude, it was such a bad situation. And for the longest time, I just had to lay in bed. I had to lay in bed for like a year, basically. And the only thing I could do was really go to doctor's appointments, and that was it. I didn't have the money to go anywhere. My grandfather took amazing care of me. Of course, he was retired at the time. He's like basically my dad. And he just worked his tail off to take care of me and help me out. And my wife, I told at one point, I said, before we were married, obviously, I told her, I said, you know, I feel like this is going to be a lifelong issue, and thank God it wasn't. God took care of me and healed me. I told her flat out, like, hey, you're too young to have to deal with these kinds of issues. You should, you know, find somebody else. If you wanted to walk away, I'd understand. And do you know this chick stuck by me that whole time? I will never understand why, but it just proved how amazing she is. It makes me want to cry, but I'm not going down that route. Anyway, 2018 was not a good year at all. One of the worst years of my whole damn life. But I will say this. It got me some time to get into Goosebumps. And I don't think at any point R.L. Stine or any of you could understand how much Goosebumps means to me because of how it helped me get through that time. That was a bad time, dude, because the back injury was also mixed in with some sciatica. Sciatica was basically a nerve issue where I had been putting my wallet in my back pocket. I would sit on it all day. I would drive around all day in my car and whatever. And my other jobs and stuff, I'd be sitting down. Apparently that's not good for you if you put your wallet in your back pocket and happen to sit on it because it misaligns like your hips and stuff. And dude, apparently that caused the sciatica at the same time with the move issues and the stuff that happened with my spine from the moving my wife into her apartment and whatever. It just all hit at one time, dude. And the sciatic pain, I'm telling you, if you have not experienced that, you do not want to. Because it is like being pregnant as a man, dude. It was the most agonizing pain I've ever felt in my life. Now, mind you, I'm also the guy who at one point, when he was a kid, when I was probably about 8 or 9, I want to say, maybe less than that, maybe closer to 5 or 6, I jumped off my mom's nightstand because I had a Superman pair of pajamas. I thought I was Superman. I jumped off my mom's nightstand and or dresser, whatever, and I happened to land beside the bed, and the metal frame sliced my leg open, and I could see the bone in my leg. A lot of blood. Not a good memory. I felt more pain from the sciatic pain in my back, or my leg, or whatever you wanted to call it, than I ever felt when I had cut my freaking leg open and saw my bone. So that should tell you a lot about how bad that was. So what I would tell you is, number 1, the lesson here, do not put your wallet in your back pocket. Don't do it, don't sit on it. Number 2, if you ever even mildly start feeling back pain like that, or feeling like a zapping lightning pain down your leg, go to the doctor, get some physical therapy, dude, because it was the only thing that helped me at all. The only medication they gave me at one point to help me out, because I was in so much pain when I took this one trip to the ER one day when it had just gotten worse out of nowhere. They had to put me on morphine. They had to give me the double dose of morphine at the time. which was not a good thing because everybody was talking about the worry about opioid addiction and that kind of thing. And I don't like medicine. I don't like pills and stuff. So I didn't have that issue, thank God. But they had to put a lot of morphine into me to put me out the day that I went to the ER. Dude, I'm telling you, I've never felt pain like that in my life. So just be careful if you ever pack anything to move. For the love of God, for the sake of the movers that help you, or yourself, or your team, or whoever's helping you, family, friends, whatever, pack your boxes lightly. My wife and I learned that the previous move where we moved to the house we were renting, and now we learned it again with this move here. So far, I've been okay. God willing, everything will stay that way. But don't be a fool. That's what I would tell you. Horrible pain, dude. All right, number 5. Thank you for the great content and well done for 4,000 subs. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, CS. I hope that you're doing okay. And God bless you. Happy Halloween. All right. Ron San 89. How do you feel about a Kindle? I am a physical guy myself, but running out of room and deciding to pick one up. Man, my wife and I had this conversation the other day. I have a Kindle and I had a Nook. I still have my Nook. Personally, I use my Kindle for comic books. But I started doing it for like, you know, books a lot of the time too. If it's something I wasn't sure if I would like, I would try out the Libby app, which is a library thing, I believe. And you can talk to your librarians to get it set up and whatever, and you can basically download library books that are ebooks. And I heard that was a really good thing. Again, I haven't really tried it much, but I've heard really good things. Kindle has the Kindle Unlimited thing where you can just read anything you want that's on Kindle Unlimited, which is not everything, but most of the stuff on there is because people want to make a buck. And that's a cool plan. Personally, because of the censorship we're seeing with things like Goosebumps books and Roald Dahl books, media, they're already changing movies. They're taking movies out and canceling them. They're canceling people in Hollywood and authors and stuff that are dead. Personally, I'm scared to death, probably like you are, about my media being taken away from me. If I put a game into my Xbox One or my PS4, I have to download the game. And they call it a day one patch, but what it really is just an excuse, frankly. They want to monitor everything that you do. Your government wants to, and we need to understand that. Physical media is extremely important, but then you butt heads with what he was just talking about in his comment, the running out of room issue, because I absolutely am in that boat right now. I have about 6 or 7 boxes of just movies over there and TV shows. And VHS tapes mainly, that's why some of them are so bulky. I have a bunch of that over there and a couple of stacks sitting around too, that when I get my cabinets installed on the fireplace over here, I have to install all of that over there and I have to basically get these things up on there. I'm trying to sort through my media right now, especially with books. Books take up more room than DVDs and Blu-rays and games do. I'm trying to get rid of more books, and I told my friends about that in the Discord too, because I'm running out of room too. If I'm not already out of room, I'm going to be out of room very soon. So I'm trying to move my way through getting rid of junk. Because a lot of this stuff I've had for 10 years. Some of these books like Silence of the Lambs. I had somebody ask me the other day if I had read Silence of the Lambs or Red Dragon. I've had a copy of both of those books for almost 11 years, and I have not touched them. I haven't. I've wanted to because I love Red Dragon and I love Silence of the Lambs for the most part. But I just have never gotten around to reading them, and I don't even know if I will. But my biggest issue, I've noticed this with myself too, as many of you know, I'm a very sentimental guy. I myself have a lot of issue with trying to get rid of things from people who have died that are family or friends, especially people like my grandmother. I have a hard time dividing myself from those things, like a really hard time. I have a hard time with memories of those things. And I'm trying to get better about that. I'm trying to understand, like with the books thing, I just have too many books. I need to get rid of them. Not the Goosebumps stuff, obviously, that I'll reread over and over again the rest of my life. And not stuff like Stephen King or Brian Keene or Jonathan Mayberry's really good books like Pine Deep Trilogy and the Rotten Ruins series. Christmas books, I have a handful of those up there at the next bookshelf over. I have about 5 or 6. And I love those. All of those are some of my favorite books ever written, like The Christmas Candle from Max Lucado. It's one of the best Christmas books ever written, in my opinion. Super underrated. Miracle on 34th Street is a super underrated short story. It's a Wonderful Life was a Christmas card. I have the book of that my mom gave me. I can't get rid of stuff like that. They mean too much to me. They're so good. But books take up more room than movies and DVDs and stuff do in my collection. So I'm trying to figure out a good way of how to approach this. Like, do I want to get rid of more books, or do I want to just try to get rid of everything? I just can't figure out how I want to do it. I had a really bad experience recently with Goodwill, to the point where I don't want to give anything to them ever again. So I'm kind of in this boat of trying to figure out what to do with that stuff. I'm too lazy to try to sell the stuff on eBay. I don't think most of it would make much money anyway, because people don't read anymore. So, I don't know. I understand where your qualm and issue are coming from with trying to figure out room. One thing I will say, there is this thing right here that I happen to have sitting here, thank God. If you're a big physical media guy, I recommend this highly. This is a thing from a company called Disc Socks. Basically, you take, I'll just pull any DVD I have over here. Here's an extremely goofy movie, which I never thought I would have or ever show here on the channel. But I recently bought this for like $5. Basically, you take out your cover art here from your DVD, and you just insert it in here. And basically, right here in the middle, the spine will be in here, and you don't have to worry about folding up the artwork or anything like that. You just fold it as it naturally is in the DVD case. And the spine and the front cover will be showing on this entire cover of this Disc Socks thing. It has space in here for two different discs. Like, you have the one that goes right here, and then you have another flap, and these clean the disc every single time you take it out of there. It's not plastic or anything, it's an actual fabric. These are a little pricey, but I have a bunch of them. I have a whole box over here of just DVDs and movies I don't want to get rid of, that family gave me or past loved ones gave me, that I don't want to get rid of, that I want to hold on to, but I'm not going to watch very frequently. These things are super thin, dude. Look at how thin this is. This is, you know, let me put it side by side with a case. You could put about 4 or 5 of these together and they'd be about the width of a DVD case. So if that would help you at all, I think that's the reason God allowed this to be sitting right here in my frame, because I didn't even think about using that as an example here. But if you love physical media and you love movies specifically, get those. Disc Socks, to me, are the best ones I've seen on any platform so far on the internet. And this is not an advertisement or anything. It's just the one that I went with. It was the only one that impressed me. So hopefully that helps you. All right, let me move on. Thank you again for your question, by the way. I hope you're able to figure out some kind of solution for your physical media thing. All right, Ding Dong Ting Tong. Oh my God, I love you people. Ding Dong Ting Tong asks, invisibility, flight, or teleportation? I'm gonna go with, oh, that's a good one. Invisibility wouldn't be helpful because I'm a big dude. It's like my belly's still gonna get in the way. I couldn't hide in a room in the middle of a conversation between people I don't like, or like in a war room or something. I couldn't handle that because I'd just get in the way, you know? But flight would be really cool, but I'm also afraid of heights. So if I had to fly, I'd be really low to the ground, which would defeat the purpose of being able to fly. And if I could teleport, I would love that. Now, can I teleport other people with me? Like, if my wife and I want to go to Hawaii for the weekend, can I just be like, bammo, and I'm there? And like, I could just hold her hand and teleport her too, or is it only me and then I have to wait for her on a flight? Probably gonna go with teleportation, honestly. I know that sounds really lame. A lot of people want to be Superman, but you ain't gonna be able to do that just because you can fly. Anyway, thank you for the question. Another Aussie Goosebumps, God, I can't say the names anymore, man. Another Goosebumps Aussie addict. Sorry, man. Thank you, man. I see you all the time in my comments section. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, Michael, this is my question I would like to ask you. If you could hire, change, give anything to the new Goosebumps TV show, what would you do to it? Man, I think the biggest saving grace that could really help the show out would be the anthology thing, like I said earlier, but also music. Like, not pop music like Billie Eilish like we got. Oh, God. No, I mean like music. Like, have an actual score for this. The Fear Street movies got that right, you know? It'd be a good idea. Thank you for your question, by the way, man. Appreciate you. Giuseppe De Rosa 2001, Q&A, which is your least favorite Goosebumps series? Oh, man. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm going to say it's a tie, man. It's a tie. It's either the TV movie, the TV books from America that are basically just novelizations of the episodes, but those are more mediocre than bad. You know, they're just kind of okay. There's that, but then there's also like every Tales to Give You Goosebumps book after like the first 2 or 3 that are just rough, man. That drag that series through the dirt. Those are really, really, really rough. So probably Tales, if I'm being honest with you. A lot of the other series at least have good entries most of the time, or good concepts that may have a bad ending, like the Slappy World books, but that would be my opinion on that. He asked another question before that. What is one Goosebumps book you wish you changed the ending? I don't think I really have any examples, man. There's like one final thing that happens at the end of Stay Out of the Basement that I kind of wish I could change, like the final thing on the final page. And it's like the final paragraph, too. And I think it's too much, involving flowers. I don't like that, and I think that is a little weird for what the book is doing, how crazy, intense, and wild that book is. That ending is a little too goofy for me. Maybe it's because it was the second book ever. I don't know, but that's just me. Giuseppe asked another question, too. If you had to pick one Goosebumps book to live in, which one would you choose? God, that's a hard one. Probably One Day at Horrorland, because I really like theme parks and amusement parks and stuff. When I go on vacation, I want to in the future, maybe next year, try to go to an amusement park, take Rachel to one for the weekend or something. I think that'd be really, really awesome. We haven't done that in forever, man. But yeah, maybe One Day at Horrorland. That could be really fun. That's a cool setting, cool time, rides. You might get murdered, but, you know, who cares? It's going to happen. So anyway, Giuseppe, thank you for your questions, dude. Mad Mathematician 4458. See him a lot in recent comments, too. A really cool guy. My question for the live stream. Everybody keeps saying live stream. I can't live stream, silly. How do you feel about writing a pilot episode or issue number 1 script for a new Goosebumps TV show or comic? No long commitment. If it doesn't work out, no loss and no hard feelings. Mad Mathematician and I talked about this, I believe, recently, too, that I brought up the fact that I would love to see the fan community who hate this new show write your own script, man. I'm not saying it'll get produced or anything, but just do it. Do it like a fan fiction thing and put it out on the internet. Just do it. Get some respect off of something Disney refuses to get. He and I talked briefly about kind of like... He made mention to teaming up to write one, but it's not that you need that, you know? You don't really need that for a pilot episode, or if you decided to go on the more anthology route of just doing it, adapting your own favorite Goosebumps stories to a script, you can do that. I recently got into screenplay writing. I was telling this to my friends on the Discord too. I love that. I used to try to write novels and stuff all the time because I thought it would actually get produced and stuff. And now all I do is butt heads with publishers, not even over the content of the book. They just say things like, oh, the book is good, but it's not what we're looking for right now. That might be a nice way to say, hey, your book sucks. I don't know. But I'm pretty proud of the content I had put out at the time for the books I tried to send in to get published. And they weren't novels, like big old novels. They were usually children's horror short story collections. And they were good. My wife read them. She's a big reader, like I said. She's not the type that's going to tell you, like, hey, I really love this. She's not that type just to make you feel better. She's going to say, like, hey, I would change this, or I would change that, or hey, I think this is too scary for kids. My wife liked it. My mom liked it, who doesn't read either, which is shocking that she even looked at it, you know? But I tried to put it out there, and I've reached out to people. I've talked to agent after agent after agent, and I cannot get it out anywhere. The one that I worked on years ago that I talked to you guys about. And I don't know, man. Yeah, like, I would like to write stuff as fan fiction, maybe self-publish it, maybe call it something else. I don't know. But that would be fun. That would be really fun, because I know for a fact that I could write a better show than the freaking AI that's writing this new 2023 Goosebumps crap. I'm shocked by how bad the quality has been, personally. But yeah, I could do better. I could do better. I think most people could do better. I think if you're in elementary school watching this video, you could do better than the Disney AI machine they have writing this show that I'm convinced exists. But that's just me. You know, would you guys do that? Would you write your own version of this new show? Would you create your own? I'd love to hear all that down below too. All right, the Johnny Kidd films. Questions. Number 1, what is your favorite Give Yourself Goosebumps book? Man, Camp Run for Your Life is pretty great, but what is it, One Night in Pain House, I think is the one that's like a Halloween haunted house story. That thing is so scary, man. I love that book. One of the best, scariest books ever written in Goosebumps history. Number 2, are we getting a third movie or not? Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I told you guys before, no. It ain't happening. they made a horrible decision by going this route and not giving us Goosebumps 3. Goosebumps Haunted Halloween wasn't amazing. It was okay to me. Most people seem to hate it. But Goosebumps 3, I don't know what they could have done. A lot of people wanted Horrorland. A lot of people wanted Jack Black back involved. And I get all that. But man, I wouldn't trust them with anything anymore. I really wouldn't. Man, the shirt is so weird. It just keeps getting lower and lower, man. Okay. It's all this weird sleeve stuff. All right, number 3. What do you think about Slappy's new voice? The voice actor is incredible. I think he's really good. Good voice actor, for sure. That British voice, it's very smooth. I love the British accent, dude. British accents are just really... They're just very appealing. I don't know what it is about it. You could narrate Charles Dickens or a science school book, and I would be interested. That voice is really good. Slappy sucks in the show, and the writing is bad for him. So I'm kind of like... I feel bad for this voice actor. This guy is incredible. He really is. He deserves every bit of credit he gets, and I said that in my review for episode 6, the one based around Slappy. They did him wrong, man. He's trying so hard to be really great, and the writing they gave him is just trash, personally. But he's good. I like the voice actor. But thank you for your questions, man. That's all I got to say about all that stuff. All right. Sergeant Sad Guy 9908. Congrats on the milestone, man. Here are some questions. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Number 1. What book would you want to be made into an episode, new or old, already made or not? I already kind of did that. Number 2. Do you want to do anything else with the channel or other than Goosebumps? I had thought about that. I had tried there for a long time. I made about 100 videos called Things Like Goosebumps, I think is what it was called. I was going to do that recently with like Beach Party from R.L. Stine from the Point Horror books. And I was going to do it with Fear Street too. But I don't really want to go out of my way to collect really expensive Fear Street books, because the more I read of Fear Street and Point Horror, the less I like him. I like Stine more when he's doing Goosebumps. I think he really gets his tone perfect on that. His story concepts I think are better. Whereas Fear Street feels like the same thing over and over again to me. Point Horror books from him feel like that for me. Recently I thought about just going ahead and reviewing books on this channel of just any books I wanted to talk about instead of doing it on my other book channel that it was doing okay. I've got about 100 subs there, but I don't really want to do a book channel anymore. Like, I like it for Goosebumps because Goosebumps is special, but it takes me so long to get through a book now because of all the games and movies I buy and watch all the time, the stuff that comes to streaming that I want to watch, and how long some shows I'm watching are on right now. Like, I'm watching Naruto Shippuden. I'm like 60 episodes into it. It's like 900 episodes long. It's going to take me years to watch that show, dude. Years it'll take me. Like, I'm trying my best to balance out all this stuff, but there's just so much at one time. I don't really know what to do with this channel. I have like topical video ideas I have written down in a notepad over here. I have ideas for... You know, of course, I want to do some fan commentaries for, like, the movies and, like, the TV show episodes as each season comes around, like I was starting out to do with the dummy episodes. I want to do that, but it's taking so much time with the move and stuff. But in the future, I just don't know what else to do with the channel, aside from the usual I did, which was book reviews and stuff. Some people, like Completionist, had mentioned maybe I could go ahead and start doing, like, spoiler reviews or something. He said that a long time ago, though. And again, I think you guys would be bored to death. If I did that, I think people would hate it. I really do. Because I ramble so much that if I open myself up to more time, as you can tell, we've almost got like a 3-hour stream here. Not even a stream, but just a 3-hour video of me rambling through question after question. I just feel like it's a bad idea for me to do that. But also because time is sparing, and I have a lot going on in my life right now. So I just can't get a good mantra and mojo and momentum of what I want to do, you know, with the channel now, or with other channels. I have movie review channels, man, that I just will start and I'll do it a certain way, and then I just stop, or I try to change things, and I just don't like the content. I just can't get myself in the place of making those videos good anymore. Which is weird, because I'm more of a movie guy than I am a book guy. I like books, I love books, matter of fact, but I prefer movies, easily, and I prefer games over books too. But I can't get myself in this perfect place of really being able to make engaging reviews or content for movies. And I've talked about that plenty of times with a lot of my friends, and I just, you know, they don't think, they've at least said to me they don't really think there's anything wrong with the videos. But the lack of passion in the videos says volumes to me, like when I make them. I feel like a lot of the time I go back and I rewatch them and they just feel like there's no real focus on them. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm trying to review too many things at one time. I tried to limit that at one point where I reviewed maybe 2 movies a week, and that's it. All mostly older content. Some stuff I had seen over and over again for years, like the Saw movies. I've tried different things, different approaches on other channels, and not so much this one anymore for the Goosebumps content. But I just cannot map out how I want to do it, or how to approach the stuff the right way, how to make it engaging or entertaining on other stuff. Not so much the Goosebumps channel. You guys kind of come and watch faithfully anyway, which is cool. Thank you for doing that. But I don't know. I'm all over the place about what to do with everything, with this channel, with other channels. For a long time there, I basically said that I was just going to quit and just do just the Goosebumps stuff. But I'm out of videos. I can't make anything else. You know, if a new thing is announced, or like with this new Goosebumps show, where I can review every single episode as much as I despise it, that's really all I have. That's really all I can keep making content with, aside from maybe a video here and there. I'm not really good with theory videos, because there's so many different series that people want theories about, like Slappy, where there's like 20 or 30 books now. That's just too much. That's too much. That's too much work. There were better people who were able to do that, like Goosebumps Godzilla, a long-lost YouTuber who just recently made a video of forever. Goosebumps Godzilla was fantastic with doing theory videos. You should totally check him out if you haven't seen him. Anyway, I'm not sure, is what I would tell you. That's the short answer to all that long stuff I just said. I'm not sure. I don't know how to approach all of this the right way. But if you have any ideas about what to do with the channel, I'd love to see that down in the comment section down below. I've seen some people give me ideas in the recent past, but it's brutal, man. It's brutal. I don't want to jump into buying Fear Street, because I'm just not impressed with it so far. Anyway, moving on to question number 3. How's your day been? It's been great, man. I've been awake for like a half an hour, and then I jumped into making this video for like 2.5 hours, so I'm going okay. I don't have any coffee. I don't drink coffee on a regular basis, but I kind of wish I had one today. I'm also almost out of soda, so I have to switch over to my water bottle down here on the floor, which is a shame. All right. How's your day been? That's my big question here. Congrats on the 4K subs, man. We'll watch the Q&A with Candy. Haha. That's the best way to watch it, man. Anyway, Sergeant Sad Guy, thank you so much for watching, dude. God bless you. Happy Halloween. Ding Dong Ting Tong asked another question. I love that name. I'm going to tell my wife that name. What is your favorite Hostess snack? What is your least favorite? My absolute favorite is a Twinkie, dude. There ain't nothing like a Twinkie. I stand by that. They also make blueberry donuts now. If you haven't had Hostess blueberry muffins, like you go to the gas station, you'll see like a 2-pack of just 2 big old donuts. Dude, the blueberry ones, excellent. Absolutely excellent cuisine right there. Now, the worst one for me is a snowball. I can't stand the snowball, and the cupcakes that I grew up with, like the chocolate cupcakes with the white swirls on them, whatever those are called, they used to be so great, and they suck now. I don't know what happened after 2020, or even before that, when Hostess was out of business and then they were bought up again. I don't know what happened, but those cupcakes suck now. They're not fresh. They always taste like they've been in a box for like 10 years. They suck. They're stale as hell. I don't like them. So, there you go. Thank you for your question, Ding Dong Ting Tong. Let's see. Brian, I can't understand if it's Brian C as an S-E-A-Y 8242. Anyway, Brian. I'll just call you Brian. Number 1. Out of all the Goosebumps series, which is your absolute favorite? Probably the OG. That's the great one. Have you read R.L. Stine's Fear Street series, and if so, which one did you read, and what did you think of them? I read the Silent Night 1, 2, and 3, and they were okay. I had some positive things to say about every single one of them, I think, but they were kind of rough. His point horror stuff I read was Halloween Night 1 and 2, which were a mixed bag. I have them behind me, but like they were okay to me. Most of my friends hate them. I thought they were mildly okay and entertaining. They have some cool stuff in there, but not a ton. They have a book over there that I read during the summer I talked about earlier called Beach Party from Point Horror. That one was bad. It was okay, and then it turned into just bad. What else have I read? I feel like there's something else I'm not remembering here. But when it came to Fear Street, I read the Silent Night 1, 2, and 3, and that was just enough for me. I think I even gave those books away. I'm pretty sure. Either that or I packed them up somewhere where I can't find them right now. But I'm pretty sure I gave them away to Goodwill, and they sucked. All right, number 3, favorite Goosebumps short stories. God, pretty much the entire first book I like, from what I remember. There was also a Halloween-themed book. I think that was book 3, I want to say. Excuse me. Maybe that was book 4. I don't know. Whatever the Halloween Tales book was, that was really good. That was really solid to me. Pretty much every story in there I really dug. Number 4, top 5 monsters from the Goosebumps series. Slappy, I'm going to work backwards here. Slappy, Haunted Mask, Dr. Maniac, Mud Monsters probably behind... No, wait a second. Slappy, Haunted Mask, Mud Monsters, Dr. Maniac, and then... Who else? Who else would I go for? I don't know. I don't know who number 5 could be. Nothing's coming off the top of my head right now to tell me what I need to pick out. I'm trying to think. What could be number 5? Maybe The Visible Man from the first special edition Give Yourself Goosebumps book. Basically, if you've ever been to a science museum like that book takes place in, they have basically the statues of like a human without skin, and you can see like the veins and stuff. The Visible Man walks around in the museum and goes after you in the main character role of the book. And the Visible Man, there's just something about it, how he walks around, he's like dripping blood and stuff, I guess. He's like, when he walks, you hear squishing. The idea of that is so frightening, and I am surprised that I have never seen that in a movie before. That is a terrifying imagery, and I love it. Every bit of it. It would have petrified me when I was a kid. But yeah, Visible Man's easily in my top 5. I almost forgot about him until just now, but Visible Man, dude, great villain for a very bad book. All right, number 5. What do you hope to see in the new House of Shivers series? Again, I'd like to see more adventure stories. I think that could be really cool, really fun, if they would stick with that direction. And, yeah. Number 6, name one Goosebumps book you'd recommend for a newcomer to the series to read. Oh, that's hard, man. Welcome to Dead House is like the one to go to, in my opinion. The only thing for that book is that as scary as it is, as great as the atmosphere is, it's very gory. That might turn some people off. If it's a younger reader, they're going to love it. But if it's an older reader, it might turn them off depending on their taste. They probably think it's torture porn or something stupid like that. But Welcome to Dead House is really the great encapsulation of what Goosebumps is like from just one single book. It doesn't have a ton of monsters or anything like that, but it gets the feeling of Goosebumps down in a very dark way. But then you have other things like Monster Blood 2 that really feel like Goosebumps. There's a reason Cuddles became like a mascot of Goosebumps for a long time. Maybe Monster Blood 2 would be a good place to start with. I don't know. Slappy books would be great. Haunted Mask books would be great. Any of those would be great picks, my personal opinion. But make sure it's OG 62. The new ones are a little bit easier to come by, but they don't always capture the feeling of Goosebumps very well, depending on what we're talking about. Anyway, that's it for Brian. Thank you, man, for your questions. I appreciate you, man. All right. GigitX? I'm sorry, dude. Congrats. Thank you. I wanted to ask, what is your favorite band? Oh, man, I remember getting this question. I was looking at this, and I was trying to remember what my answer should be. My answer jumps around a lot. I'm a humongous fan of Joy Division from the 80s. They weren't around very long because the lead singer of Ian Curtis killed himself. That band eventually became New World. Is it New World? Yeah, the people who made Blue Monday, the song from Wonder Woman 1984 that's super popular. Blue Monday is a fantastic song. New Order, that's what it is, not New World. New Order was the band that they became. Joy Division was incredible, though. However, here lately I've really been finding myself get into Danzig all over again. Danzig, man, if you haven't heard the song Mother from Danzig, you're missing out. I remember the first time I was playing Guitar Hero, or Rock Band, or whatever it was. I was at my friend's house, we were playing it, and that song was one of the ones we got to pick, and dude, Mother is just a song that you have never heard before. If you haven't heard that song, I'm telling you, man, you don't even know. You don't even know what you're getting yourself into. Go look up Mother by Danzig, Danzig. Danzig is one hell of a band. Glenn Danzig, the lead singer, was from the Misfits. Incredible, talented man. I love Glenn Danzig. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about the memes. I don't care about how mean people are about the poor guy. He's awesome. But that band, dude, they are my go-to pretty much. You probably thought I was going to say something like Metallica, didn't you? I'm not no normie. I love Danzig. And Joy Division. But they're very different. Very different in a lot of ways. Let's see. Do you have any recommendations? Well, there you go. Judas Priest is also amazing too. If you haven't checked them out, Judas Priest, man oh man, what a great heavy metal band. Oh, so good. I don't like Screamo either. If you guys are thinking I said metal and you're immediately screaming or hearing screaming in your head, no, I'm talking about metal. Like actual metal. Heavy metal is the way to go. That is the music I like. Now, I love my Frank Sinatra. Matter of fact, Frank Sinatra is my favorite singer of all time. But my style of music I really focus on, it's heavy metal. I love some heavy metal. I've noticed you got happy to hear 9 Inch Nails on one of the episodes of the new series. Yeah, I did. I was just kind of more shocked to hear a song that I actually liked that wasn't, Billie Eilish, or something generic and cheap to make. But yeah, 9 Inch Nails I love quite a bit too. I don't really consider them a band so much as like a duo, But Trent Reznor, he's a cool guy, dude. I love his music that he made for Social Network. It's a great movie with a really great soundtrack because of him. Well, thank you so much, Gigi, I don't know what your name is. October 13th, congrats. Thank you. Christopher Beale 963. Let me fix my shirt again, dude. Jesus, what is it with this thing? It's just so weird. It's like I have a natural leaning forward issue because I slouch all the time when I'm doing the videos. Not when I'm in real life, but I slouch all the time in my videos, and it's not good for you. Back injury issues, I guess. But yeah, Christopher Beale 963. I've been a fan of your channel for a while. Keep up the good work. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you for being here. I have 3 questions for you. How did you get into Goosebumps? I think I was just at Hollywood Video one day with my mom, my grandparents, somebody, and I was walking around the horror section looking for something new to get into after being so obsessed with Halloween, I believe was what I saw first. And I saw I believe it was either Haunted Mask 1, 2, or Dummy 3 as the episode VHS release. And I saw him and immediately was like, I want to watch this. I think my mom or my grandfather, my grandmother, whoever it was, flipped it over and saw it was rated G, and we went from there. And I became obsessed, and I loved it. But that was not in the kids section either. I remember it being we basically, at the store that I went to, Hollywood Video had horror sections, 4 or 5 aisles of horror. And then you went to the next section, which was the kids section, which was hilarious to me. But the horror section had that one wall, and Goosebumps was right there on the opposite side of the horror aisle. And then I remember seeing Dragon Ball Z and Goosebumps mixed together. I remember seeing that. But they were all in the same general area of that store. But that was the beginning of it. And then I had a skating rink birthday party I always talk about with people in my videos. That I got a bunch of the books for the first time ever. There were Scholastic book fairs. I had picked up books from there too for the reprints that first came out for the new reissues at the time from 2004. I didn't see much of the TV show aside from what you could get on VHS and DVD. But outside of that, man, I loved it deeply. Mainly slappy, Haunted Mask stuff, but Goosebumps in general was just amazing. It was just, there was nothing like it in the 90s and early 2000s. It was so unique, And Are You Afraid of the Dark, I think I saw right around the same time. Not too long after I became a Goosebumps fan. And again, it terrified me so bad that I just had to stop watching it because it scared me too much. Number 2, what books do you tell a young writer to read so they can write in the vein of R.L. Stine? Personally, I think that to be able to mimic a specific writer from experience, because I used to do that with Stephen King when I wanted to be the next Stephen King, which is never going to happen. I recommend reading a ton of R.L. Stine books if that's what you want to write like. However, on the other hand, I don't think you could pull off R.L. Stine's writing style now and make a massive profit. I just don't. Because people, in the internet age, everybody is a sarcastic douchebag, And if you publish the kind of books like R.L. Stine publishes, let's say it's a more serious, dark book, but you write in his style that he does with like Goosebumps, or even Fear Street for that matter, people would say you have no personality, that people would say you have no talent, people would say that it's too dry, because a lot of Fear Street and point horror from Stine feels kind of dry in its narration. Goosebumps from him? Absolutely not. Feels very personable, feels very alive, if you will, very passionate and soul-filled. But it kind of depends on what kind of Stine you want to write. Like, if you're talking Fear Street, read a bunch of Fear Street. But people are going to criticize that, and it probably won't go anywhere. That's all I'm saying, because of how modern-day media treats it, how they aren't looking for, like, thriller horror stories for teens and kids, which is just crazy to me. Why? I mean, I understand that it's not making the most amount of money ever, but that's more dedicated to the fact that books are not read very often anymore. That's why books are dying out so heavily. People don't read. People try to defend that all the time and say there's more books being sold than there ever was. No, what you're looking at is a population increase, and what you're also looking at is the subgenres dying out. People aren't reading westerns anymore. They're not reading horror books much anymore. They're not reading really anything but erotica, romance, and sometimes horror. Outside of that, you might have some teen books, like YA, that kind of is dying out again. Like I kept telling people it was going to die out because people are going to get bored reading the same thing over and over again. A lot of those people just stopped, from what I understand. A lot of family members I have who read a lot of YA, adult or teenagers, just stopped. They just don't care anymore. It's so boring. To me, it's always been boring, depending on what series we're talking about. But I don't know, man. I would just, if you're going to go that direction, read a bunch of R.L. Stine if that's what you want to write like. But one of my favorite books ever about writing that I think was amazing is Stephen King's On Writing. Everybody talks about it. I don't need to say anything else, but I learned so much from that book. And Stephen King, say what you will about the man, I can't stand him in real life. I think he's just a douche in real life. But his writing advice is top tier for the most part. He doesn't follow any of it, basically, but his advice is fantastic. Really is. So anyway, moving along. Number 3, would you ever do a review for The Babysitter by Stine? I don't know if it'd be on this channel. It might be on another channel. I don't even think I own book number 1. I have 2, 3, and 4. I saw them on the collection when I was moving things. But I don't know. I might review it. I don't know. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate you. God bless you, and happy Halloween. Ariana Gonzalez, 2776. What is the most favorite episode of Goosebumps you've ever watched? Dummy 3, hands down. Amazing show. Timothy Bond, man, what a director. Number 2, would you ever want to read Ghost of Fear Street books by Stine? I've read a couple of them. I read the first one, Hide and Shriek, or whatever it was called. That's really solid for the most part. I wish it was more scary. That's a concept that sounds amazing. That could be way better in like an adult horror book. But then you have the one that's like Halloween. It's like it was like a jack-o'-lantern and it had like a roach on it or something. I cannot remember what it was called, but I loved it. And my friend Monster Blood recently read it and was talking to the Discord about it, and he hated it. And I was like, how do you hate that book, dude? It's so good. But those are the only 2 I've read. I have a couple of more, I think, in my collection, but I don't have many. I got rid of a lot of them, man. I didn't own all of them or anything, but the ones I did own that just looked like they weren't going to appeal to me, I got rid of those a while back, like a couple of years ago. I didn't even read them, just got rid of them because I didn't have the room for it. But with all that being said, hopefully it'll be at least good if I go back and read some more at some point. What was your very first Goosebumps book ever? I think it was Dummy 1. If I had to bet, I would say Dummy 1. Because Slappy, I'm pretty sure was the first. I think Dummy 3 was the first episode I ever saw. If I'm being correct, I think that was. Because it got me into ventriloquist dummies. It got me into being obsessed with that and watching and finding everything I could that had dummies in it. But I'm pretty sure Dummy 1 was the first one I ever read. I could be wrong, but I think so. My nose itches, dude. Who is your favorite villain from the Goosebumps books and episodes? Slappy, Haunted Mask, the hooded killer decapitator guy from Night in Terror Tower that I cannot remember his name to save my life. Cuddles is awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know? And of course the other ones I mentioned too, like Dr. Maniac and all of them. Number 4, or wait a second, I already did that one. Number 5, if there was a book from the series that you would continuously read, which one would it be? I've already done that. One of the Haunted Mask, and Ghost Camp too. I read those constantly. Haunted Mask 2 as well. Amazing books. Number 6,
Which books did or do you think Stine could have done a better job on? There's a lot of those. I don't really have one specifically to throw out, but a lot of them I would say should be changed. But I would say the majority of Goosebumps are really solid. My biggest thing is that Stine should have absolutely changed the ending of a lot of the Slappy World books. They suck, man. I think there's one good book in that entire run, and that's It's Alive, It's Alive. That's perfect from beginning to end. So that's kind of my personal negative opinion about it. What was your most favorite ending of a Goosebumps book? Man, probably wanted the Haunted Mask, because I love the closet scene at the very end of it. I love the closet scene earlier in that book, but I love the one at the end of that. That is so genuine. I don't know what it is about that ending, but I love it. It gives me chills. I don't know. That book scares me a lot. Number 8. Have you ever watched the R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour? Yeah, I love it, dude. Lily D, one of the best villains in children's horror history. I love Lily D. The show overall is pretty good. I don't love it like a lot of people, but I do really, really like it. Personally so far, I think Creeped Out's better. But the Lily D episode, is that like a 45-minute episode? I could be wrong. But anyway, the Lily D episode is one of the best things I've ever seen for children's horror, or just horror in general. I love Living Doll stories. They're kind of overdone, but I love them. That one's really good, but I think Creeped Out on Netflix is better, at least for my personal exposure to it so far. I haven't finished season 1, but it's excellent. Anyway, number 9, how old were you when you got your first books? If you're talking about Goosebumps books, I couldn't have been anything less than about 7 or 8. Pretty sure. Because like I said, I saw the VHS tape, had the birthday party, so it might have been around, I want to say 98 to 2001, 2002, I want to say. Because I know I went to a Scholastic book fair a couple of years after I'd gotten into it and got some of the books like Stay Out of the Basement's reprint cover, and I think Welcome to Dead House was one I got a reprint cover of. And I think there was something else, maybe Monster Blood? Yeah, I think Monster Blood was one of them too, that had a reprint cover. But I think those are the first ones that I ever got from a book fair, but the first ever books I got were from the skating rink birthday party. That was like Dummy 1, 2, and 3. I think Haunted Mask 1 and 2 might have been in that, but I don't know if I ever actually owned those. I don't know. Maybe I got rid of those. I doubt it, but maybe. Bad Hair Day was in that collection. There was more that I'm not remembering right now. But yeah, those were pretty much the early ones. Number 10, how did you discover Goosebumps as a child? I already talked about that. Number 11, what are all the books that you wish would have been a Goosebumps episode in the original series? Slappy's Nightmare, as messed up as the ending is and how I think it kind of ruined the book, I think that would have been a great episode, and I think the ending would have worked better as an episode personally. That Ghost Camp, Ghost Beach should have deserved better, but I like what we got. You Can't Scare Me should have been adapted properly, but was not, which was an insult. That's pretty much it for me personally. Number 12. What would be a monster that you would want for R.L. Stine to write more books about? Dr. Maniac. Dr. Maniac for sure. And Mud Monsters, because they're great. Mud Monsters had toys and memorabilia, shirts. I think there was even like bed sheets and stuff that had Mud Monsters on it from You Can't Scare Me. And they got one book and never another one. House of Shivers should do that, but I would also like for House of Shivers to focus more on just new concepts, new monsters, that kind of thing. Like in book number 1, you had the man-bat things. Thing was terrifying, man. I loved it. I wish Stine would focus more on that than rehashing old monsters like Slappy, Haunted Mask, whatever. But I could go for a new Haunted Mask book too. I really could. It'll never top 1, 2, and 4 for me. Probably won't even top number 3, Scream of the Haunted Mask. But still, I would take it, Stine. Maybe a sequel to Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns too. That could be cool. All right, number 13. What other places or things would you want Stine to make haunted in a book? I've thought about this one time, and I'm not really sure. I would like to see something like, I don't know, maybe a haunted location. Do we ever really get anything like that? You have titles like Ghost Beach that are more about the ghosts on the beach, you know? But what if we had an actual area that was haunted in Goosebumps? I don't recall that ever being done, aside from like a ghost story of like ghosts haunting a land. What if we don't do that? What if it's just an evil landscape? You know what I mean? Might sound kind of dumb, but I think Stine could pull that off with like a cursed land or something. like a pet cemetery type of thing. I really think he could pull something like that off, and I don't think he does it very often, if he does it at all. Number 14, what Lost books by R.L. Stine would you want Stine to make? The Lost Goosebumps Gold books. I know we kind of have Slappy New Year, but he swears up and down that's a completely different book that was just a title originally. I don't believe him, but I would love to see that. I would love to see Happy Holidays from Dead House or whatever it was called. That would be really cool. Why have we not gotten another Dead House book? Really? All the haunted house stories we have in Goosebumps and we don't have another Dead House book? That just seems like a missed opportunity to me. The other Haunted Mask book that was supposed to be a Goosebumps Gold book would be awesome too. But yeah, that's all the questions from Ariana Gonzalez. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. God bless you and happy Halloween. God, what time is it now? Dude, we're almost at 3 hours. Jesus. I really got to get going on this, man. My boy Grayson the Goosebumps Kid. My boy. Congratulations, Michael. Hey, thank you, man. Go subscribe to him, by the way. He's a cool guy. Do you think they should do any more theatrical or TV media for Goosebumps after this new show? Grayson, I think that's the wrong question. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think they'll never be able to. It's what I think. I think if they ever do it again, it'll be another 20 years down the road. I don't see it happening anytime soon because they have butchered this new show. And I know a lot of people like it, and that's fine if you guys do, but man, I don't see it coming back anytime soon. Goosebumps 3 was dead because of the reception of Goosebumps Haunted Halloween. This new show was made in response to that to try to pick up on it. It took like 5 years or 6 years or whatever it's been for it to come out. And it's just, no. This isn't Goosebumps, so I'm convinced it's not going to happen ever again once this gets canceled after this first season. Number 2, have you checked out some of the new video games that have been released this year, such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Spider-Man 2, and Mortal Kombat 1? I haven't played any of them yet. I probably won't play Texas Chainsaw Massacre because it's online only. I don't like the online-only DRM stuff. I think it's an absolute anti-consumer approach, basically, which is wrong, personally. So I don't really want to mess with that too much. The other games basically have that too, but not to the extent of something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Evil Dead, because those games, when their servers are down, just like the Friday the 13th game will be next year, they're gone permanently. You can't play them anymore, from what I understand, for what the company seems to be saying too. So I'm so hesitant about buying new games, and I refuse to pay the $70 price tag on them. By the time I get to those types of games, they'll probably be dead. Nobody will be playing them anymore. So I've just been buying old stuff, man. I recently went on a massive haul at the store I've been going to this year, and I found this one game I've never heard of from the creators of Heavy Rain, but I've heard of the title. I've never played the game, though. Never knew anything about it. But it's called Indigo Prophecy. Haven't played it yet. Sounds amazing. All these old games for 360, the original Xbox, PS2, I'm finding gold after gold after gold. I found Far Cry Instincts and Instincts Evolution for the original Xbox. I got them each for like $6 a piece, which that is the original Far Cry game for PC, divided up into 2 games for the classic Xbox before Far Cry 2 came out, I believe. So I'm trying to buy up all this stuff. Because it's going to get to the point where gaming has gotten so bad now with the always online DRM and stuff. People are jumping backwards and buying old stuff now, man. And you can see that with consoles, you can see that with DVD players and VCRs and stuff. Not that those are to the extreme level of something like video games, but you're going to start seeing physical media for video games, like the old stuff, vanish from stores that are like pawn shops and everything, because people are buying them up left and right, man. And I'm one of them, because I want to play stuff I haven't played before, and all the new stuff doesn't impress me. Now, Spider-Man 2 is definitely up my alley. It's about Venom. I love Venom. I love the direction from what I've heard of some of the things they're taking Venom this time around, but I haven't played it yet, so I don't have too many thoughts. So, the one thing I'm excited for this year, I don't even have a PS5, but you guys know I'm a die-hard Silent Hill fan. I love Silent Hill. Probably one of the biggest things I'm addicted to in the whole world. Silent Hill 2 is getting a remake this year for PS5, and I don't even own a PS5. That is the one game that I might be willing to pay the $70 for, to get a brand new, right out of the box copy. I've had about 3 games of the entire franchise I was able to do that with, which was Downpour, the previous game, and then Shattered Memories before that. So I might do that for the sake of, I just love Silent Hill. But the PS5 thing, I'm going to be waiting a long time till I grab that, man, because I'm not willing to jump out there and pay $600 or even $500 for something like that I barely have an interest in, and most of the games look like they suck. So I've been going backwards and playing old stuff. You know what I started playing recently that I finally found at the same store I just showed you a game from? Forza Horizon 3. I love 1 and 2. They're amazing. Picked this up as a big Forza Horizon fan, and it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible, and it is so hard to get your hands on a copy of this in physical areas like in Virginia, where I live. So I'm working backwards, is what I'm saying. Playing old stuff, playing some stuff for the Nintendo Switch, which is really cool. I love that the games are basically on the cartridges 99% of the time. And yeah, I love physical media. So no, I haven't played much of the new stuff. Sorry for all that rambling, Grayson, but you got what you got, buddy. I love that guy. Grayson is so cool, man. Number 3, what are your plans on this channel when you run out of things to do for Goosebumps? I kind of talked about that earlier. I don't know, man. It's kind of doomed. There's nothing really to talk about. Number 4, are you interested in reviewing Black Christmas or Jack Frost for a Christmas time review, or possibly Thanksgiving for a Thanksgiving horror film review? So, Black Christmas, I saw the original movie a few years back, and I thought it was boring as hell, and I hated it. So I never watched the remake thing from like the early 2000s that I always wanted to see, but I heard that was good. And I heard a lot of people that don't like the original movie like that remake, so I don't know. But then there was the new Black Christmas from Blumhouse that I'm just dumbfounded that was even made. That's clearly a movie that was not going to be Black Christmas that was then thrown on to this franchise to try to make money off of a piece of crap movie. It's a shame. So I will not probably be watching that one because I don't want to spend money on that crap. But the remake from the 2000s I might watch at some point. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, I think you're talking about the one that's... I think they changed the title back to Thanksgiving now. I don't know. But isn't it like an Eli Roth movie or something? It's like a slasher. That might be good. I like Eli Roth movies sometimes. Sometimes. So that might be okay. I guess we'll see. But hopefully that's good, man. I thought about it, but of course not for this channel. I don't know where I would talk about it at. I have those other 2 channels, Strange Michael, which is the horror movie channel. Then I have Night of the Living Dude, which is kind of just anything goes. And I'm not really sure that I want to do that either, you know? Again, the content thing, I can't really figure out what I want to do with any of the channels. So I might cover them, I might not. I recorded like 5 different times a review for Saw X, and I never could get it down the way I wanted it, so I just didn't do it, you know? Which is a shame. Number 5, do you believe every kind of media will eventually turn into a woke, political, or politically correct vision? I would be terrified if that ever happened, LOL. Grayson, it's already too late. It's already too late. Pretty much everything is at this point. Disney spearheaded that, they pushed that and started it. Everybody else fell into it too. However, my favorite YouTuber, Razorfist, made a point that I think is more true than I ever realized. It's more about these companies go broke not making money because of, obviously, pirates on the internet and whatever. Then they go broke. They have to get political to try to hopefully make money off of what they claim to be the majority when they know it's not the majority. They just go by what Twitter shows them, which is stupid. And California, which is stupid. And they go by those things and then try to make content directed towards that group, and now they realize they screwed up. They screwed up, and now people are really coming back after these companies over that, and just being completely indifferent to them. Now they will completely crash and burn because of that. And you're seeing that everywhere. All of the different directions you're seeing all of your favorite franchises and whatever, whether it be video games or anything. I'm a humongous Saints Row fan. I love Saints Row. I'm scared to death that they're going to have the same thing happen to happen to GTA that happened to Saints Row. It's a shame. It's a shame because, again, it doesn't matter what direction politically you lean. I don't care about that. I love people for being people. Yeah, there are evil people, but most people are not like that. The problem for me is the fact that I just want to escape from this crap. I just want to be away from all of it. I don't care what direction we're talking about politically. I just want to be away from all of it. Because everybody sucks nowadays. Post-COVID proved that everybody just kind of sucks now. I don't like anybody. You know, I like my subscribers and my wife, and that's about it. And my family, my close family. And that's about it. But I feel like everything is already in that place. This is what you are seeing when you talk about things like media turning into 1984, the George Orwell book. This is the beginning of what George Orwell was writing about with the government in that book. This is how those kinds of things start. And the younger people don't realize that. That's what terrifies me. You have the people who turn their heads, put their nose up in the air and claim that it's not what's happening when it absolutely is. And then you have people that are just too young to know better because they had bad teachers or just nobody cared enough to explain that to the younger generation. All of the stuff you're seeing where you don't even own your video games. You have to download them from an internet file. When the servers are down, you won't even be able to play it anymore. All of that stuff goes hand in hand, and I refuse to believe that it was just all of these things coincidentally popping up at the same time. The propaganda pushes, things like happening with the Goosebumps show and stuff, it's clearly all one side of the political aisles that are pushing their side, and I think it's ridiculous. And I don't even like to use the word woke. I just don't like the political nature of everything now. Everything is like that now, and it doesn't need to be like that. But the fact that we try to ignore it makes things worse for the rest of us, and it ruins entertainment. Entertainment should be entertaining. And people are going to find different things entertaining. That's fine and good. I don't have an issue with that. And I'm not saying don't make any movie ever political. All I'm saying is don't make everything political because it ruins everything when you do that. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to pick out a side. I'm not going down that whole route. But Grayson, I'll be honest with you, I'm scared about it too, man. Because it's getting to a point that you can't escape anybody's opinion about anything. And to get to the point that people politicize stupid things like rain or like the weather. And dude, stop. Just stop that. It's insane to me. Anyway, moving along from the serious topics onto something else. I guess that was the end of Grayson's questions. God bless you, brother. Hopefully we can collab one of these days. Good luck moving house. Hey, thank you, man. God bless you. Happy Halloween, dude. Hope you're hanging in there. And play some good games, man. Let me know what... I think you're going to play Spider-Man 2. I think you told me about that recently. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully you enjoyed it, man. It seems like a lot of people really love it so far. So I'm hoping it's good. Miles Prower 456. Congrats. Now for the questions. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Did you know that the 2003 Goosebumps reprints uses the Goosebumps logo from Series 2000 but with different colors? I never knew that. That's really wild, if that's true. That's really wild. I never knew that. That's kind of the one I grew up on, you know? A lot of the reprints are what I had first. Out of all the versions of Slappy, which version is your favorite? Easily the 1990s TV show version. I know he has red hair. People hate on him for that. I don't care. He's great. He's fun. The voice is perfect. Yeah, he changes height constantly. Yeah, one second he's a full-size stuffed person, and the next second he's a skinny doll, you know, like a twig. But I love him. He's amazing. He's goofy, he's fun, he's entertaining, and he's great. I love him. Even the worst ones, like episode Night of the Living Dummy 2, which was not a great adaptation, but it was okay for what it was. As rough as that one can be, he's still great. He's the highlight of the episode. He's what makes it fun to watch. And what Series 2000 book is your favorite? Ooh, that's a rough one. I don't even remember what I put as my top, man. There were some really good ones, like Horror of the Black Ring, or whatever it was called. That's a hell of a book, man. That's quite a book. But I don't really remember off the top of my head what my number one was. Yeah, I don't remember. It's that good old-fashioned dementia settling in. Anyway, Miles, thank you for your content, for your questions. Appreciate you, man. God bless you. Happy Halloween, dude. All right. Bane of Thanatos. I have a question. Why do you talk like that? My wife and I were laughing about this question. Like you used to work in radio or something. Well, okay, so my voice is... I don't know why I talk like this either. You know, I'm from the Mid-South, like I said. I grew up watching a lot of movies, so I lost a lot of my accent by the time I got into adulthood. And every once in a while, depending on what I'm talking about, like the word horror, it comes out real quick. That real quick southern accent just booms into the scene. But it seems like at one point I was doing videos years ago, after high school. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. I started on Xbox Live on the Xbox 360, and I kept hearing about people claiming that I had a good voice, and I don't know if I still believe that or not, but people claimed that on the videos, and not the videos, on the game, And with the microphone, you can just hear people's voices. And I used to love to troll people. I used to troll people all the time. That was the popular thing to do. People like Minnesota Burns popularized that. I used to do it all the time. I used to spend hours just trolling people on Xbox Live. It was great. It was really, really great. But that developed my personality more and more to be the most sarcastic person I could possibly be. And I have perfected that over the years, more so and more so. So then eventually I started another YouTube channel after many years of not doing content at all. And I just had a microphone and a picture on the screen, like I kind of briefly mentioned earlier. If you go back to my Nightmare on Clown Street review, you can kind of see that when I tried to do that a little bit there too. And I think my Attack of the Mutant, I think I had a video for that too. I did the same thing. My old YouTube channel years ago, I basically just did the picture on the screen, the microphone thing. And the more that I did that, the more it seemed to modify how I speak. And a lot of people accuse me of being monotone. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a lie. I think you're just bored. That's fine if you're bored, but just say you're bored. Don't say it's monotone. It's not. But, man, my stomach's making all kind of weird noises today, man. I haven't had anything to eat. I can't tell if it's like a hunger thing or what. But, anyway, I talk like that because I guess I've had so much experience just talking too much that, and I watch a lot of things like what's a great example? I love a podcast that's been around since like 2013. They don't really do videos very often, but they're coming back kind of here and there now, called The Skeleton Crew. And it's going to sound dumb, but when I was a teenager watching them when I first graduated high school, I used to basically sit there and like just imagine being in a conversation with these guys that I love. I love listening to them. To this day, Alex, Dan, and Jamie are some of the funniest people on the planet. I love them. If you have not listened to The Skeleton Crew, you must. You absolutely must. Go on YouTube and type in Skeleton Crew podcast. Go listen to them, dude. They are so funny. God bless those guys. They got me through so much when I was working at Walmart. Thank God. Hated that place. But those guys got me through a lot of it. And I always like imagined conversations with these people. And then, of course, when I did YouTube, you had to speak a little bit louder to make the camera pick you up because I was doing webcams back in the day instead of an actual camcorder. And that was a pain. And you had to talk loud, and you wanted to not be boring. You wanted to jump up and down in volume, and if you got serious, you got serious, and so on and so on. You wanted to make jokes land, so you had to speak a certain way. And I've kind of slipped on what I used to be able to do with that back in the day. But like now, it's kind of boring, more often than not. The shorter and the more concise the content, the better the video for me. I'm realizing that more and more, but I just refuse to edit. I'm just not going to do that. I don't have the time for it. I don't feel like doing it, but I talk like this because I hope that, I guess it'll bring people in, but if you talk to me at work, I talk like this at work too. It sounds like a game show host, and it's annoying to most people, but, you know, it is what it is. But, I don't know, my team liked it, I guess, and it was fun to troll people with a voice like that, because people didn't know what to say when you insulted them a certain way on Xbox Live, and you sounded the way I sound. So anyway, with all that being said, that's why I talk the way I talk. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't. I wasn't even a game show host guy, so I don't know where this came from. Anyway. Thank you for your question, man. That was a very unique one, and I laughed the other day when my wife and I saw that, because we were both laughing about how funny that was. Yeah, but thank you. Thank you for being here. All right. By the way, no history in radio. Nick P, or NICP 2344. Love you, man. That's it. Hey, thank you, man. And then I see the edit that's got a bunch of questions. All right, I'm going to go down the question route now. Love you too, by the way. I don't know you, but love you. Number 1, what is your favorite Tales from the Crypt or Twilight Zone episodes? Could you see any turned into Goosebumps books, etc.? Favorite Tales from the Crypt episode is probably the Christmas one from season 1. There's a lady at home by herself and a guy that's a maniac dressed up like Santa Claus, kind of like in a Silent Night, Deadly Night fashion, comes around the house trying to kill her, and that is a great episode. There's also one involving a ventriloquist dummy later on in the show that was wonderful from Tales from the Crypt. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. Twilight Zone, to me, is the grandfather of all of these anthology shows, and for good reason. It is so great in its quality and how scary and frightening it can be. If it's playful, it's very clever. I love that about it. Rod Serling was one hell of a writer, man. So was Richard Matheson, who did I Am Legend, Stir of Echoes, Hell House, Hell House, right? Anyway, he's the dude that did a lot of Twilight Zone and Star Trek original series episodes. Richard Matheson was a genius, dude. An absolute genius. If you have not experienced Richard Matheson, you need to watch Twilight Zone. That is the best way to see how he adapted his own work, how other people adapted his work to do Twilight Zone. It's a classic show for a reason. It's still intelligent and smart to this day, and it makes you think. People still to this day get mad when I talk about the new Twilight Zone being so political and stupid, the Jordan Peele one. And people try to pull this crap of saying, oh, well, Twilight Zone's always been political. Well, yeah, I get that, but it was trying to make you think. It wasn't picking a side and going from there. It was making you think about your flaws as a human, maybe some things that challenge you. That's a good thing. That's what I love about the original Star Trek show, too, and it's something missing from most of Star Trek and Twilight Zone after those series. So, to me, I think it's incredible. If I had to pick out an episode I would say is my favorite of that, it's probably Time Enough at Last, the one with Burgess Meredith from Rocky, the one about the old man who just wants to read books. His wife won't let him read, his job won't let him read, he's about to lose his job at a bank, and he goes down in the vault and nuclear fallout happens when a bomb drops and he's the only man alive. That is an amazing episode, and if you do not get sad by the end of it, I don't know what to tell you. There's also an episode of Twilight Zone that I love too. It has to do with it's a hunter who goes out one rainy, stormy night with his hound dog, and he dies. And while he's walking around, he doesn't know he's dead. Like, he keeps going to places like his house to see his wife. She can't see him. And then he, meets this one guy who's very strange on a path where a gateway is. I love that episode. Even as a Christian, I love that episode. It's so freaking good and scary and chilling. Twilight Zone is amazing. I don't know what episodes I could take from that amazing show to adapt into a Goosebumps episode or something. But that might have been a good idea for Goosebumps to do that. Not just to adapt the Goosebumps books, which there are many of them, they probably should stick with that. But if they were ever going to adapt other things, like how Twilight Zone would take different short stories from famous sci-fi and horror writers and adapt it from there, if they were going to do that, that would be a genius thing for Goosebumps to do that could set it apart. Because people that might be a fan of Stephen King, for example, would say, oh, they're going to do whatever short story, Children of the Corn, in a Goosebumps fashion. I'm going to go watch that. You could do that and maybe make it work. I don't know. But yeah, that's all my rambling about Twilight Zone. Number 2, what do you think happened to the bullies in Say Cheese and Die? Am I right to think that the book is highly regarded? It's my favorite, but it seems never to be brought up in my Rushmore discussions. I love Say Cheese and Die, the first one. I think it's amazing. Really great book, really fun to read. I think I read that around the time I got married and went on my honeymoon, too, and it was just a good book all around, man. I don't think you'll see it in many Mount Rushmore videos or discussions from people, mainly because people just don't seem to appreciate that one that much. And I don't know why exactly, but they just don't seem to really chase after it. You know, I don't know why, but it's also, to me, not on the caliber of something like Haunted Mask, Slappy books. I do think Say Cheese and Die is probably better than quite a few Slappy books, matter of fact. It might even be better than the first 2. I don't remember how I ranked it, but it might be on my 62 ranking. I can't remember, but Say Cheese and Die is incredible, man. You know? Number 3. Honestly have come to the conclusion that reboots kill fan bases. You're absolutely right. Everybody's finally realizing that after Star Wars and now Goosebumps, especially in the Goosebumps community, people are realizing that it's killed the franchise at this point. Not that it can't be revived in the future, but from this point on, everything that's going to come out I expect to be trash, personally. Matrix, Twilight Zone, Frasier, and now Goosebumps, it just pits the likes versus the nots, and it kills off the fan base. Dude, you're 100% right, and you said it perfectly. That it just put people in this place that now everybody feels like... We went from talking about our favorite monsters and our favorite episodes and books and stuff in this franchise to now arguing about politics. That's what I had an issue with and what I was worried about forever ago with this show being made by Disney Plus or Netflix, like a lot of people wanted, which was another bad idea. Both companies were going to ruin this regardless of who got their hands on it. And it's just made people go from talking about Goosebumps to now talking about politics and political issues. You've probably seen that in some of my comment sections of my episode reviews for the show, the new show from 2023. Every time I turn around, somebody's either calling me something or they're implying something about me that is absolutely ridiculous and insane, and they get so mad when you call them out and start calling them names back. They cannot handle that. I love it. It's so funny, man. But it's ruined it. It's absolutely ruined it. And I'll be honest with you, for a little bit there, I kind of thought about just quitting the channel entirely because of how bad this show was. I thought about, like a lot of my friends, like Completionists, to just not even cover the show anymore, the new show. But I don't feel like that's the solution here. Number one, because I'm a Goosebumps channel. I've talked about everything else. Why not this too? Even if it's bad, at least I can make fun of it, which I have tremendously. And number two, just because the fans that hate the new show feel like the series and the franchise is dead, it's not dead to us who are the traditional fans who love the old stuff. It's not dead to us if we continue to celebrate those things. It's really not. This show will eventually fall into the void and never be talked about again. I'm telling you, that's what's coming because of how awful it is. The people that I see liking it, good. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you're able to find some kind of entertainment in this show. I really am. But I refuse and reject the idea that it is anything more than appreciation out of pure and utter copium. I'm convinced of that. People wanted more Goosebumps. What we got of new Goosebumps was terrible, and people are determined they're going to like it. I'm convinced that's what's happening here. But if you genuinely like it, that's fine. I don't have an issue with it. No one cares. I don't care. Most people don't care. But yeah, reboots kill franchises. And I will never unsee what they did to Star Wars. Ever. That was, to me, more important than Goosebumps in my life. And they killed it. They killed it so harshly. But yeah. It's a shame, man. So, anyway, good questions, man. Good comments. Really appreciate that, Nick P. God, how much more is there? Oh, dude, it just keeps going. Got like 70 comments, man. Let's see. Jordan Cruz, 5614. Number one, which original 62 Goosebumps book out of the 19 that were never adapted into the 90s series episodes would you have loved to see adapted on the screen, and why? I kind of talked about that briefly. Do you think certain characters, villains from the original 62 need more publicity than other mainstream recognized characters? Slappy, Carly Beth, Haunted Mask, Monster Blood, Evan, etc. If so, which ones and why? Kind of talked about that briefly too, mainly because I think that there's a lot of burnout on Goosebumps because of so much Slappy exposure. Haunted Mask is beloved, but mainly 2 books are, not so much all 4. So, it is what it is. Number 3, the Tales That Give You Goosebumps series and or Series 2000 needs more recognition adapted episodes. True or false? For me, false. I think a lot of them are stinkers, man. You see what happened with Strained Peas years ago? Not good. We don't need any more of that. Jordan, thank you for being a part of this. God bless you too, man. Happy Halloween. My boy It's Hayes. I've had a lot of conversations with It's Hayes here recently. A really cool guy overseas. Learned some really cool things. He came to America one time. We both have a shared hatred. Not hatred, but disappointment with Five Guys, the restaurant. Five Guys is expensive Wendy's. That's all it is. And I've teased my wife about that for years because she's more of a Five Guys chick than a Wendy's chick. And I'm not willing to pay $30 or whatever it is for a burger and fries. That's like pathetic, Anyway, that's just me. It's Hayes. Now you've read all the Goosebumps books, I have a request. Number 1, favorite Goosebumps book and book series. I already talked about that. Number 2, scariest Goosebumps book. That's either One of the Haunted Mask or One Night in Pain House from GYG. Dude, those are incredible. They are so frightening. Ghost Camp is scary, but Ghost Camp doesn't come close to those other 2 in my opinion. Number 3, goriest Goosebumps book. Easily One of the Haunted Mask. Easily, no questions asked. Number 4, funniest Goosebumps book. Man, Why I'm Afraid of Bees was genuinely kind of cute and fun. I was surprised. I think Grayson was the one who told me that he really loved it when he read it, and I think he was the one who pushed me to try to check it out finally. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was pretty cool and pretty cute for what it was. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that really actually made me laugh that I could think off the top of my head. There's a lot of silly Goosebumps books out there, as many of you know. A lot of them really work. A lot. So that's kind of cool. Number 5. Goosebumps book with the best vibe. For me, it's probably Haunted Mask 2. That's the one that really has a thick atmosphere that just lingers to me. That one and You Can't Scare Me are really the standouts when it comes to that for me. Number 6, Goosebumps book with the best pacing. Maybe Ghost Camp. Ghost Camp has incredible pacing, man. Really, really incredible pacing. Dummy 3 has okay pacing, I would say. Above average, for sure. So maybe somewhere in there. Number 7, a favorite Goosebumps book that takes place outside of America. That's probably going to be The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena, because I like snow. I love the beginning of that book with the icy lost adventure stuff. I think that's great. Not a massive fan of that book, but it's good, and I love that portion of the book being the majority of the book. I think that's 3/4 of that story. But that's a really good one. And I believe that's outside of the U.S., I'm assuming, right? I thought. Anyway, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Hayes. Appreciate you, man. Happy Halloween. God bless you. Oh, here's another one I meant to recommend as well. This is another Goosebumps YouTuber that's newer. The Ultimate Goosebumps, man. Check this guy out, man. He's only at like 61 subs right now. He deserves so much more because the dude's videos are fantastic. Really, really cool guy. Just recently met him. Not in real life, but on the internet. He commented to me. We talked a little bit. The Ultimate Goosebumps, man. Check him out, dude. Really cool guy. A very friendly dude, too. Anyway, congrats on 4,000 subs, man. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate you, dude. I have 3 questions. What do you think of... Oh, excuse me. What do you think are the most overrated, underrated episodes of the original Goosebumps TV show? Most overrated for me is probably Night in Terror Tower. It's okay. It's above average for sure, but it's not great like a lot of people make it out to be. Same thing with Stay Out of the Basement. Stay Out of the Basement's book and episode were like the last things I covered from the OG books because I was just in this place like I don't want to experience the story again. It has some cool practical effects in the episode, some cool moments, but I get burnt out on that every time I think about it. You know? The most underrated episodes... Probably Ghost Beach, in my opinion. I think it's highly, highly disliked for no reason. God, the shirt, dude. I'll never do this again on camera. So annoying. But that's, to me, like the really, really big victim of being underrated, in my personal opinion. I need water, Hayes. Or whoever I'm talking to. Ultimate Goosebumps, man. I cannot believe we've been going on 3 hours, dude. I'm so sorry, guys. Number 2, if you had full creative control over a serialized Goosebumps show, how would you adapt the books into a consistent narrative, and which books would you choose? I would not do any kind of consistent narrative. I would never do it. I would stick with the serialized nature of it. I think it only works that way for Goosebumps and for most horror shows, personally. I don't know how I would adapt anything that would be, in particular, like a standout, you know? So I don't really have much to say about that one. Number 3, there has been confirmation recently that the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark sequel is still happening, so which stories from the books would you like to see adapted in the film? Number 1, I'd be shocked if that actually happens. I love the movie quite a bit. I think the movie's fantastic. Everything it handled, from the topic of racism to the actual monsters, all of that stuff were so incredibly balanced in a wonderful way. Really great movie, really underrated horror classic. I get mad because that movie deserves so much more love at like stores like Spirit Halloween, and all I see are Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat is not that good. It's really not. I saw it one time when it came out on DVD, and I hated it then. I recently watched it, hate it again. I'm getting rid of this. It sucks. Trick or Treat is garbage, dude. I don't care what anybody says. As my boy BD Horror calls it, it's hot doo-doo. So... yeah, but the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie, I would be surprised to get a sequel. I don't know what I would like to adapt there. There's quite a few. There's one particular story that I think would be cool if we kept it in more of an anthology basis instead of trying to continue the ending of number 1. I love part 1. I would love to see what's going to happen with the friends that are lost at the end of part 1. But if we just went like in a creep show route of adapting different stories and a serialized narrative in that episode, or anthology-based, whatever, I would love to see the one about the old man in the asylum that tricks another guy to let him go by the window where that guy was, describing all the stuff to him. He gets there, he realizes it's a brick wall the whole time. I would love for that to get adapted. That's such a good story, dude. I would love to see another Alvin Schwartz story get adapted from a different book called In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories, called The Green Ribbon. I think The Green Ribbon is one of the scariest stories ever written. It scared me to death when I was a kid. If you don't know what that is, you need to go check out In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories. Just make sure you get the original book with the original art, not the new one. But yeah, I would love to see the new movie, but I doubt it's happening, man. It's like the Goosebumps 3 myth that's been swirling around forever. I had this one guy, he came to my channel like every day, on every video he could find on my channel, and commented about how Goosebumps 3 had been officially announced because Google told him so. I'm like, dude, it didn't happen. It was never announced. It's not gonna happen, you know. But I heard it constantly, and I was bummed out about it. But it was like, dude, just accept that it's not happening. But Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 3 or 2 or whatever, I don't think it's happening. Anyway, thank you for your questions, man. Check out the Ultimate Goosebumps Man on YouTube. Great reviewer, man. Really appreciate the guy. Raf590, congrats on the 4,000 subs. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. It's nice to see that there are many Goosebumps, I'm assuming fans, still after all this time. When I first started looking for Goosebumps content, I didn't know where it would be that many Goosebumps fans still, and there was many, and even more hardcore than me. Dude, I said the same thing. When I started meeting people like Spongy and Completionist and BD Horror and all of those guys, I was shocked by how many people still loved Goosebumps. And now my camera's trying to die. I'm gonna have to make a separate video. Oh, 3 hours, three whole hours, dude. I'm gonna have to stop. I got about 4 minutes left, but that's a bummer. Yeah, I was surprised by how many people were still into Goosebumps, who still loved it, who still talked about it, who collected it too. A lot of people came to the channel just looking for reviews when they'd find me and just new Goosebumps content. Because when I started making videos, the only people who had kind of stopped for a couple of years were Zach Baby TV, David Popovich, and Goosebumps Aussie fan, Bjorn. And I was the only one making content for a while there. It seemed like, at least. Goosebumps guy had stopped making content. And it was kind of a bummer, man. I was finding people were finding me, and the community just seemed to flock over here and start talking with me, and it was really cool, man. It was really a cool time. I don't know how I managed to jump on that bandwagon at just the right time to talk about Goosebumps, but people are really cool in the community, man. It's a very, or at least before the show came out, the 2023 show, it's a very welcoming community. People used to love everybody. They just talk and talk and talk for hours about it. You never really had many trolls or anything like that. It used to just be fun. And now it can still be fun, now that a lot of the rotten apples are gone from my channel, for example. But, you know, it's a good, fun community that's pretty wholesome for the most part. You don't really see, like, the weird Rule 34 people and stuff. You see them every once in a while, like Facebook and Reddit, and I just kind of avoid those weirdos. But outside of that, it's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end on that particular one. Thank you so much, Raf590. God bless you. Happy Halloween. And I'll pick up with the next couple of questions after this video, and after I get this moved to the laptop. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you tune in for part 2. God bless you. Happy Halloween. I'm sorry this has been so long. Oh my God, my voice hurts. Anyway, thank you guys. God bless you all. See you soon. Goodbye.